Previous guest writes the first question.
Okay.
It's in there somewhere.
Okay. What is one thing you could do today that would make you die a happy person? It's a good question. I mean, there's so many things, but I think the most important thing is that I was a good mother. And not just a good mother in the sense that my kids are good people, but I'm a very faith-based human being, and that my kids have a strong faith in God and know that He is the center of our lives. That would be the one thing I could die happy knowing that my kids followed in my footsteps of having that strong faith with God.
For a lot of us, we don't really look at the gravity of the importance of when we do exit this earth. Doesn't matter how much money you make, doesn't matter how many cars, how many homes. It's the legacy that you leave behind that people will always remember you by. And unfortunately, some people don't have children, but you can still be a good person and leave an impact on this world to try to make as many people around you better by your example.
Right.
And I think a lot of people get lost in that. I think too many people get wrapped up in I need to make money. I need to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And success isn't there.
Right. And I think so it's really funny. A long time ago, I had this philosophical conversation with one of my friend's moms. I want to say I was 20 years old. I don't even think I was 21 yet. And we had this conversation about God and our faith. And she told me, someone asked her, what happens when this is from an atheist to her. And someone said, what happens when you get to the end of your life and you realize that God's not real? And her response was, well, it got me through my life. Right. And so I think that that's something to be said, where people look at God, people that don't believe in God, or even people that do believe in God, but are not very strong in their relationship with Him. They think, well, why are these bad things happening? How come I'm not making this much money? How come I don't look like this? Why don't I have this relationship? Why didn't I get promoted on this job? And it's all about that me, me, me. And that's because God is not the center of your life. And that's what faith is. And there's, I don't know if you know who Brandon Lake is. I'm sure you do. He's a Christian singer. Him and Jelly Roll came out with this song, Hard Fought Hallelujah. And there's a line and it says, faith, I can't remember the exact one, but it says, it needs to be, it's like gold. Faith is not like gold, where it's proven until it's been through the fire. Something along those lines. I know I butchered that song, so I'm so sorry. But it's true. It's people don't have a faith. Like, you're not going to just be everything's golden and great all the time. And it's not going to be, they're not going to have their faith tested when everything's happy. So when things are going wrong, that's when you really secure that faith with God. And I think that that's the one thing that I hope to impart on my children, but not just on them and people that, like you said, don't have children. If you put God at the center and you really strengthen that faith with Him and you just trust Him, things are going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And the whole thing about, I didn't get that promotion, I don't have this much money, why don't I have that relationship or whatever, it's because it's not God's plan and it's not your plan. And so I think that that is a huge, huge thing that people need to realize, that you're not going to always have this sign like, oh yes, look at God's talking to me in this corner and He's talking to me over here. It's very blind. It's blind faith. And if I get to the end of my life and there is no God, well, you know what? It got me through my life and I made an impact and changed other people's lives. And not only that, but especially and most importantly, my children.
I think for a lot of people, that's the best analogy. If I could say the best explanation that I've heard, whether you have faith or not, whether you believe in a higher power or not, if your faith drives you to be a better person and you get to the end of your days and there's nothing, oh well. As opposed to if you don't have faith and you don't believe in a higher person and then you get there and, oh shit, it's too late.
Yeah. It's like, oh wait, can I go back and redo that road?
Can we hit rewind?
I think that's an important thing. And I think that's why I think it's lately, and I don't know if you've noticed it lately, but so many people have been having their lives change and following God. And I think just seeing the revolution in the music industry, number one, and that's why when you look at these singers like Jelly Roll, who he was a felon and he had a really hard life, and now he's hooked up with these Christian singers to produce Christian music. And I feel I went to I went to a Brandon Lake concert a couple weeks ago, in the middle of Los Angeles, in the middle of Southwest Division, South Central LA. You walking into the car, just super sketchy. Like, please don't get robbed on my way to this concert. But you get inside this venue, and I'm surrounded by 25,000 people worshiping God. I mean, what does that say? That says I feel like we're looking at that movement of people falling back into the life with God. And I see every day all these people getting baptized, and it's really beautiful. So I do think that, I do think we're winning. I think the good guys are starting to win a little bit. But this question is so interesting because it can apply to any aspect of your life. And when I start to think about, because it kind of makes you relate to who are you as a person, what's important to you, and I'm curious to see what other people would answer. But my immediate reaction is being a mother and what I'm leaving on this earth. But I don't know if before I had kids I would answer that question the same way. And I probably would have said something along the lines of my previous career, like, oh, I want to be, this awesome cop. Or, I mean, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know what I would have said before. But it's just funny when that question, it makes you reflect on what's important to you in your life. And that's what's important to me. And my faith is number one, and leaving that impression on my children and hopefully other people along the way is the most important thing. I don't know what else to say about that.
It's often said, and it's not rhetorical, children will change your life. And obviously, at certain ages in your life, you will have a different perspective on things. The one that always hits me is you can be very patriotic, but along the lines of children, it's one thing to say, I would go fight and die for this country. It's another thing to say, I would send my child to go fight and die for this country.
Yes.
And so becoming a parent is a huge perspective change on everybody's lives, and hopefully for the better, and allows you to, I think it gives you that perspective that you aren't the center of the world, so to speak. There's other people that are more dependent of.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's a selfless thing to be a parent. I mean, and even if you're not a parent, I have friends that don't have children, but they look at my kids like I'm the aunt, and they care about other people too. So it's not necessarily that you have to be a parent to feel these things or understand these feelings of letting your kids go off to war, for example, or protecting them. I mean, you still have, it doesn't just fall on that, but it does change your life when you do become a parent. Because when I was growing up, I never wanted kids, and I have 4 boys now. So it's like, how do you go from not wanting kids to having 4 kids? So when you have that first child and it's just nothing like it, it's like, this is my world now. Like you said, like your perspective changes. Your perspective completely changes. There was this running joke that I didn't have tear ducts because I would never cry. Never cry. And like, I'll never forget, after I had my first son, was watching some commercial and like saw it. And I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's so sad. And it's just, but it changes your whole world. And every age, every experience changes your life. And I think each change that happens, who you are as a person is determined by how you handle each change. And what happens for me, for example, I could have easily given up, been like, okay, my life is awful. This is tragic. Like, I'm going to feel sorry for myself and drink myself to death. I could, right? I mean, you could do whatever you want. It's free will. But how you handle tragedy, or how you handle loss, or how you handle any devastation, it says a lot about who you are by how you handle it. Because people can easily blame somebody else and be the victim. And I see that all the time, where I've been through a lot. Other people have been through stuff less than me. People have been through worse than me. People have handled it better than me and worse than me. And I think it's just that number one thing that stood out for me, at least, and I can only speak for it, was my relationship with God. Without him, I don't know if I would be the same person. Without my children, I don't know if I would have been the same person today. Because I was like, you don't have time to be depressed. You don't have time to be upset through this. You have a family to raise. You have and not to say I don't matter, but in the grand scheme of things, your feelings don't matter right now. You've got little ones to take care of. You have a husband. You have a family. You have all these things that you're responsible for. and get to work. So it's kind of one of those things where you just take a look at it and, okay, what am I going to do with this? Yes, I'm in the slumps right now. I'm in the dark side. How am I going to get out? What am I going to do? And it's not always an easy thing to do for people. And I will tell you that it just takes one little incident, one friend to reach out and say, "Hey, have you read this before? Have you read this Bible verse? Have you gone to church with me before? Like, you should come with me." And I grew up a Catholic. Like, I've gone to church my whole life. I'm baptized, confirmed, all the things. And again, not to get like political or church-wise, but I found myself when I was a police officer, I really stopped going to church a lot, to the Catholic church. And then, I would circle back. My kids go to Catholic school and we'll go, but I just felt this detachment from the Catholic church where I'd go and it was like, I'm not getting anything out of this. And I stopped going. Like, I would just go for my children's, like if they were singing at mass and my husband and I found this church just up the street from us, and it's a Christian church. And we were both like, we're missing something. Like, we gotta do something. Like, times are hard. Like, we all turn to him. We got to turn to him. And so we found this church, and I will tell you, I owe that church everything, because that first day, both of him and I both went in, and the message was the message you needed to hear that day. And we were both like, had tears streaming down our face. And I was like, I've never felt that before with the Catholic Church. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Catholic Church. I just found a different way to get that message. And it's been almost a year since I've been going to that church, and we've gone every single Sunday. And it's just the way to get that message. And had I not gone there, my life would have taken a total different turn. I really believe that. And that's part of the reason why I'm now telling my story and how to get through all this stuff, is so other people can know, hey, there's not one way. I mean, there is one way. I take that back. There is one way. It's through him. But there's not one like physical way, right? It's like you turn your faith there. Maybe that's going to church for you. Maybe that's just opening the Bible. Maybe that's having a conversation with a friend or a stranger. And I think that's important to know, that just because you're going through it, take a look. What do you have? Be great. Start your day off with, what do I have? Like, what am I grateful for? And you owe it to him for whatever you're grateful for. And that'll change your life. It really will.
It's real easy for us, but something as simple as that. When you wake up in the morning, focus on what you have. Stop putting all of your effort into what you don't have.
Right.
Now, granted, there's a component of pushing yourself and driving to be a better person. I want to achieve things, but too many people wake up in the morning and they're more fixated on what they don't have.
Right.
Be grateful for what you do have. Using your sons as a pivot point. First question, for boys, were you a girly girl or were you a Tom? So you weren't the girly girl who ended up with
No, God knew what he was doing. That's for sure. Well, it was even funny because my first 3 boys are with my ex-husband, and my husband has 2 daughters from a previous marriage. So when we have one together, and he's a boy. But when I first got pregnant, I was like, I'm going to wait to find out on this one, right? I was like, it's going to be a girl. You have 2 girls. Like, I'm going to get my girl. And my husband looks at me and he goes, what are you going to teach a girl? Like, why do you want a girl? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not a girly girl. I mean, I wear Dropkick Murphy t-shirts. Like, I mean, come on, like, what am I going to teach a girl? It's true. Yeah, I was a tomboy, all into sports. I rode skateboards and played with all the neighbor boys. We were rough-housed.
Where is hometown?
Laverne, California.
Big family as far as mom, dad, brothers?
I have my mom, dad, and 2 brothers. I'm the oldest, so I've got 2 younger brothers.
So you almost didn't even get the opportunity to be the girly girl, because you're just kind of immersed.
Yeah,
What was your sport of choice?
Soccer. Well, I loved volleyball and soccer growing up, but when it came to high school, I made the soccer team, and I did not make the volleyball team. So it was like, I guess I'm playing soccer. But yeah, it was soccer was my sport. And it's funny because looking back, I was really small. I still am small, but I was really small and I had super strong legs, but I was really weak upper body. And it's funny because later in life, I found CrossFit and Olympic lifting. And I was like, man, if I would have done CrossFit during high school, I would have been a totally different soccer player. Because I would easily just get thrown around. I was so small, and these girls were all big, and so I tell my kids now, I'm like, get into CrossFit now because you're gonna regret it if you don't. I'm like, it will change your life. But yeah, soccer was I loved it. I had so much fun. I played all the way through high school, and then that was it.
No aspirations of using it to go.
No, I didn't know what I wanted to do in college. I knew I was just tapped out after high school. I was done. I didn't love it that much. Like I loved it during high school, and then I didn't love it anymore. I was just more focused on what am I going to do? What's the next step? And that's how I've always been like, what am I going to do next? And I've always had this drive to want to do everything. So it was like, okay, no more soccer. What's next? What's next? So I started, I fell in love with science and math because I'm a nerd. And chemistry was my favorite. I wanted to get somehow into forensics because it's funny, the physics class that I took in college, it started talking about like body temperatures of a dead body and like all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And it just completely redirected my path and what I wanted to do. I was thinking lawyer at first, and then I was like, oh no, this is awesome. I want to do this. And so I started to focus on science and math and all the things. So I transferred to Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara, and I got my degree in chemistry and graduated.
Horrible campus to have to hang.
So awful. It was just like torture every day. The beach there, bicycles everywhere. So after college, I moved back home with my parents for a little bit, and I got an internship at the coroner's office in LA. And I started doing that, and then I started my master's program at Cal State LA for the criminalistics program and loved it. Absolutely loved the program. I thought it was awesome. My first semester, I got 4.0. I was like, this is awesome. And then I hated the job as an intern, but I saw what they did, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to waste all this money going to grad school, and I don't want to do this job.
Now, at the coroner's office, though, were you getting much experience? I mean, you're claiming bodies at homicide and death scenes, but you're really not doing a lot of the forensic work.
Right. Not as an intern. No, I would just my main job was at the time I don't know if you remember, but LA was so backlogged on the rape DNA kits. So my job was to go through them and organize them and put cases to evidence. So I spent a lot of time in the basement going through microfiche, learned what that was. These big giant going through all these and it was just so it was very interesting. I still loved that side of it, but as far as the job that I wanted to do, I saw what they did on a daily basis, and I'm like, the majority of their job is doing research inside the lab, and which is, people love that. I don't like that. I was like, I just had a totally different understanding of what a criminalist was. Senior criminalists, yeah, they get to go in the field and do all this stuff. And it is an awesome job. So I want to, for that record, like it's a really cool job, and they're very smart, and it's amazing. It just wasn't for me. I was like, I just can't see myself 30 years down the road still doing this. And at the same time,
What did mom and dad do?
My dad was a computer programmer. My mom was a court reporter. So both retired now.
Any law enforcement in your immediate family? Anybody you knew at all?
Just friends. Nobody that was in my family at all. Actually, I take that back. There was a neighbor, a neighbor across the street. He was an LAPD cop. So, but yeah.
But going down that forensic route, what I'm getting is, was there ever the law enforcement interest?
No, never. It wasn't, I'm telling you, it wasn't until that physics class. And I was like, this is so interesting. And then I started to learn that all of this stuff is how to like solve crimes. Like they're going to find evidence and, bullet fragmentation, where the pieces end, blood splatter, all this stuff was so interesting. And that first class in the criminalistics program was it was awesome. You did crime scene reconstruction, and you would go and you'd have to measure everything and use formulas to figure out where the person was standing. I mean, it was just awesome. I still think it's awesome. I just was like, I don't think I could do this for a job, like for 30 years. So at the same time, I was wanting to get into fitness again because I was like, I'm not playing soccer. I don't really know how to work out on my own other than like doing sprints and all the soccer stuff. So I joined a boxing gym because I was like, why not? Let me get hit in the face. I don't know. That sounds fun. I don't know. And while
There's logic in
there is, right? It's like, I don't know, a little masochistic. I don't know. I just am like, okay, how can I get beat up? I met somebody in that boxing class that introduced me to CrossFit. And he was like, hey, you're small, like you have strong legs. He's like, I'm not trying to be weird, but like I think you'd be really good at CrossFit. And I was like, what's CrossFit? And so he put me through a workout and it so are you familiar with CrossFit?
Mhm.
Okay, so do you know what Fran is?
Mhm.
Okay. So that was the first workout that he decided to put me through, was Fran.
Barbell thrusters are fun.
Well, I was like, he writes it on the whiteboard, right? That's the big thing, the whiteboard. 21, 15, 9, squat thrusters and pull-ups. And I'm like, well, I can't do pull-ups. At the time, I couldn't do any pull-ups. I'm like, how am I going to do that? Oh, it's fine. You can use the band. I'm like, okay. So he puts a band up there, shows me how to do them. I'm like, that's it? Like 21, 15, 9, that's it? And how much weight, how much weight do I have to do? And he's like, well, the weight's supposed to be 65. I'm like, that's it? And so I'm like, okay. So I start the workout. I think I did like 10 thrusters and I was like about to die. And I was like, my God, what's happening to me? So I get through the 21, I get on the bar, I get through it, I finish the workout, and I was like, I thought I was gonna die. I couldn't breathe, and I learned what Fran lung is, where you just have like, it feels like you have blood in your throat. You're like, I'm about to die right now. Where is the ambulance? And he's like, that was hard, huh? He's like, you thought it was gonna be easy. I was like, I did. I thought it was gonna be easy. I did. And I was like, okay, so when's round 2? When do we go again? It's just like that was it for me. I loved that feeling. I love that feeling of also at the same time, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I need to learn how to do this. And I was like, okay, how long is it going to take me to get pull-ups? 'Cause I need to do this without a band. And so that's kind of what started it all. Like, that's what started the CrossFit. So imagine my parents. So I know I got my degree in chemistry and started the master's program and I wanted to go this route, but I'm going to become a trainer for CrossFit now. Excuse me, what? Like, what are you?
That's a solid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'll never forget it. My mom was still working and she's like, her judge at the time, um, he's one of those like, very practical people, very like, it's got to be this way. It's got to be that way. And so my mom tells him, Sarah wants to be a CrossFit trainer and maybe open a CrossFit gym. And he's like, you need to stop her. Like, what? Like, that is a fad. CrossFit's not going to last. That's going to be gone in like 2 years. And then she's going to waste all this and all that. And my mom's like, hey, so when Sarah makes a decision, like, I can't change her.
What year is this? Is it early in the CrossFit?
Yes. It was 2005. No, 2007. 2007. So it was really, I mean, I want to say there was only like 1 or 2 other CrossFit gyms in the area. And I think it was in Monrovia and Upland. Yeah, because it was Jeremy Kinnick. So it had CrossFit Kinnick in Upland and then Team CrossFit Academy in Monrovia. And so, and then that was it. So I got certified. I did my level 1 certification. I did my nutrition certification. I mean, I did all the things, kettlebell certification. I mean, I did all of it. And I started recruiting people like, hey, come do CrossFit. And it was at this gym, Peak Performance in San Dimas at the time. Well, then he wanted to be more of a traditional gym. And he's like, like I like the CrossFit. I'll incorporate some of it. But I don't want to have CrossFit stuff in here. I'm like, that's fine. So I bought my own equipment and I started going to the park and bringing people and just like, hey, like for free. Like I didn't charge anybody. I was like, come work out with me. Like let's try this, right? So
During its height, wasn't just being able to put CrossFit on your box a lot of money?
Yeah.
Just for the name?
It had to try because it was so new and people were looking and like, where can I do this? So it was a big deal and it was said something. And at the time, I can't remember. I want to say it was like $500 a year for an affiliation or like $1,000. It was either 500 or it was 1,000 for the initial, 500 a year after that. Now I think it's like 10,000 plus. I don't know how much it is, but it's a lot more now.
There are a lot of veteran and first responder-owned coffee companies out there. Trident Coffee is one of them, but they're different. They're cold brew experts, and their beans are roasted for cold brew optimization. But for those of you who love hot coffee, this is a benefit to you as well. Hot or cold, their coffees taste amazing without the bitterness. Their instant cold brew is infused with powerful ingredients for performance, focus, and wellness, including antioxidants and electrolytes, ensuring smooth, steady energy with no jitters and no crashes. This isn't just coffee, it's fuel for your brain and your body. Whatever your coffee needs, Trident has you covered. From a variety of great tasting roasted beans to their instant cold brew and nitro cold brew in a can for when you're on the go. However you drink it, Trident Coffee is coffee upgraded. Get yours now at tridentcoffee.com and use the promo code TDP15 for 15% off your purchase.
So I wasn't like advertising anything because I wasn't an affiliate. I was a trainer, and so I would train people. And eventually we got so big where I'm like, I think we need to open up a space. So that's what we did. I found a space over by Brackett Airport in Laverne and opened up CrossFit Laverne. And my parents were like, what are you doing? But at the time, I mean, I didn't have to take out a business loan, nothing. Like I've always worked like 2 jobs. From the time I was able to work, I started working at 15 and a half. I had my work permit and I worked at Togo's, my first job.
Great turkey and avocado.
Gee, I was so good at making those. And then after, I always worked at Starbucks for 5 years of my life during college. Starbucks was fun back then. It wasn't crazy liberal and whatever like it is now. It was the best place to work. We had the best time. So I worked there for 5 years and I always had 2 jobs. So I saved a ton of money, and then I was living at home, and I think it was like, I don't know, it was 22, 23. So I was just trying to save everything. So I didn't need a business loan, and it was relatively inexpensive to open up a gym. I want to say I spent like $60,000 total. And the first clients that were not friends or family were LAPD cops, which is so funny. They were from the Metropolitan Division, K9, like the actual like line platoon and K9. And they were like, yeah, we've been looking for CrossFit and this is on our way to work. We want to join. Perfect. So I started a class just for them because it was like on a weird, I want to say it was like 11:30 or 11 o'clock, and it was like on their way into work. Like, yeah, perfect. And the gym just grew from there. And it was it was such a fun time. And sometimes I look back and these whole like regretful things like, man, I wish I would have never been a cop and just stayed doing CrossFit. Because so much of my life changed. I sometimes think like, I wonder how different my life would be if I would have stuck with CrossFit. I competed in CrossFit. I went to regionals. I went to, we did team, I did individual, and I competed with some of those athletes that ended up being games winners. And I'm like, man, I wonder what would have happened if I stuck with it on that side of it. But
were you part of the early crew going to the ranch for the?
Yeah, I mean, not that early. I was like right in the middle of that.
Got it.
So I know a lot of them. Like I competed with like Lindsay Valenzuela. She's still a friend of mine. But she just is such a stud. I mean, she still competes. I don't know if she still competes, but she still is probably one of the strongest females I've ever met in my life. But yeah, it was just such a great time. It was different. CrossFit was different. It was like a true garage gym. I don't go to a gym anymore. I work out in my garage because I still like that aspect of it where it's just that small, personal, fun competition with each other and with yourself. And it's really fun. So I'm not in the CrossFit world now anymore, but I sometimes wonder how different my life would be. But yeah.
I never got deep into actual CrossFit, never went to a CrossFit gym, but the principles I've always liked. Mm-hmm. And the one reason why I like having a gym in my garage is because of the modality of moving through multiple movements mm-hmm. and not having to worry about, oh man, I put those dumbbells down and somebody walked off of them.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of.
You're like, I need these.
That's one of the things that I do like about having my own gym is I can go from box step ups to outside doing, kettlebell carries or whatever. and nobody's taking my equipment.
Right. But also the functionality behind it. I think that was what was so attractive to me, where it's like, these are things that you can do in real life. I mean, just simple things like picking up groceries, walking them from your car to your house. I mean, truly, I mean, you think about how many people, like, so one of my parents do CrossFit. My dad's 70, my mom is 66. And you look at them and you would think, like, how are you in such good shape? Like, my dad's sitting there doing pull-ups, my mom's doing burpees. I mean, 70 and 66 years old. They have, how many grandkids now? 7 grandkids. My mom's always carrying my nephew. He's 1 years old. How many people do you know that are in their 70s and 60s that can do push-ups and burpees and complete the Murph? I don't know anybody. So, I mean, it really shows you, though, you need this for later in life. It's not just about CrossFit's a cool fad or I just want to compete or I just want to have it as a logo. I mean, it truly is. And this is Greg Glassman was the founder of CrossFit. And he's a genius. He really put this all together. I know he used it from different trainers and different programs, but he's the one that put it together and put a name on it. And he was a genius because it really changed people's lives, not just the average Joe Schmo. I mean, he changed elderly people's lives, teenagers' lives that wanted to be competitive athletes, the average housewife. I mean, he gave them more life because it is functional movements. Maybe not a handstand push-up or wall walks. Like, we can probably get rid of those. Like, those are not functional. But I mean, you never know, right? Like, you never know. Maybe you're never say never. But I do think that that's the beautiful thing about CrossFit is that it is functional. That's why I've never stopped doing it. I mean, it just depends, especially for police officers, for military, anybody that's going to be in a life or death situation, you need CrossFit in your life because you know as well as anybody else, you've had that moment during a workout where you're like, am I going to die? I mean, truly. And I know I'm being dramatic here, but if you can push yourself that hard where your mind is like, I really want to stop right now. If I stop, this pain will go away. But when you're in the field and you're in a life or death situation, you don't have that option to be like, oh, I'll just stop and then the suspect's going to go away. I'm going to stop and then the gunfire is going to stop, right? I mean, you don't have that option to just make that decision. You have to train your brain there is no option to quit and you need to push it. I know it's just a workout. I'm not going to die from this. But if I can't get through pushing past this pain, how am I going to get through something else in the field?
The concepts, in my opinion, are great because even if you don't realize the carryover benefit, the cardiovascular benefit, that continual moving and not quitting on a workout, how much that carries over into your daily life as opposed to the normal, what do they call them? The bro lifts. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work chest and tris and I'm going to work back and biceps.
Yeah.
And you sit around jaw jacking more than you end up working out. Where CrossFit, or at least the principles of it is, it may only be 2 or 3 movements, but we're going to go through these 2 or 3 movements, 21, 15, 9, whatever it is, 5 rounds, AMRAP, whatever, until you're done. Keep going.
And it's funny. So I had this like funny thing that I would tell people when I owned the gym and I would see people and CrossFitter to CrossFitter, if you're competing with somebody that's got like an average ability, it's a competition, right? You're like, I want to beat that person. Now, if you're competing with someone and they beat you by like 5 minutes, you're going to be like, okay, we're always head to head. Why are you winning? So I would start to notice people would cheat their reps. And you know how you probably feel the same way as I do. And it's like, yeah, you're only hurting yourself, but also like, you're claiming that you beat me. It's a little bit of like, but you're lying. So I would tell people, I'm like, you know what? One thing that I noticed, how you are in your workouts is how you are in life. And it's really true because a lot of those people that would cheat their reps would find out, oh, they're getting divorced because he was cheating on his wife. Shocker. And I'm not saying that that's like an exact science, but it was just an observation that I made, right? Paid observer here. So all these little things, like you said you did 21, but I only counted 12. So you're 9 reps short. Pretty sure you didn't beat him. But it's true. I mean, if you can transition your brain to start thinking of get through this workout, complete the workout, push past that level, of pain, because what's that saying? Your body can do more than your brain thinks you can. I can't remember. I'm not good at the quotes. I just like make stuff up on the fly. But there is that your brain, you can physically do more than your brain is allowing you to do. And I think that's one of the good things about it. So when I was on the job with LAPD, I worked at 77th Division, which is the best division. I'm just going to throw that out there in the department. But so I've always been somebody, what can I, like, what I know now, what can I do to like help the future? So I'm like, I have this skill. I have this level 1 certification. I have these connections with CrossFit. Like, what can I do to help people like fall in love with fitness? Also, this kind of fitness. Because yeah, like you said, you can go to the gym and be like, I'm gonna do some curls, do some whatever. And you're like there for 3 hours and you've done like 20 minutes of work, right? So again, I'm not hating on that. I'm sure I'm sure it's harder than that. But so what happened was I wrote a proposal to our deputy chief of South Bureau at the time and asked if we can put a CrossFit gym at 77th. And so it was like, okay, but where are we going to put it?
I'm going to pause you right there.
Yeah.
You talked about how you had 2 clients who were LAPD.
Mhm.
How did you actually cross the bridge and go,
Oh,
you know what? I've never wanted to be a cop. Let me go be a cop now.
So these officers were randomly one day were like, have you ever thought about being a cop? I'm like, no, not really. Never crossed my mind. And I never thought about it because I'm like, I'm a small female. Like, what am I going to do? Kind of thing. That's kind of how I looked at it. I looked at it very traditionally. I mean, you need to be able to do the job, right? It's a man's job. And again, I'm not trying to be against females, but that's how I always looked at it. And so they're like, you'd probably be a pretty good cop. Like, you're really strong. Like, you're in shape. You know, I was like, I don't know. So they were like, why don't you just go on a ride along with us? I'm like, okay. And so I went on a ride, and this was the canine unit. So they were like, we'll take you on a ride along. My
Get in the back.
Yeah, you're going to go sit in the back. Like, if you get bit, sorry, you got to sign a waiver here. So I went on a ride along with them, and these officers used to work 77th in the gang unit back in the day. And they were taking me around their hood and like, see that marking there? That's where I got in an officer involved shooting. And my bullet hit that wall right there, and that gangster over there. And they would start stopping people and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is so awesome. I'm like, what is this world? I mean, like, you're just stopping these gangsters, and they would know them. They're like, oh, what's up, officer? Like, I haven't seen you in a long time, and this and that. And they were like, had a rapport. And I was like, wait, you get along with them? So it was just and they would explain to me, this is like, we're not friends, but we have a mutual respect. And we're just talking to them. We're not stopping like, we're just showing you and introducing you to what's out here. And mind you, I grew up in Laverne, California, a little, like 5-mile square town.
Laverne's the hood, man.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I go from that to South Central LA, and I'm like, well, where am I? Didn't even know this existed. And we finished the ride along, and I was like, when can I do another one? Like, it was just the most awesome thing ever. And so I did. I went on a second ride along, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I was like, this is my calling. I need to do this. And it just took that one person to be like, have you ever thought about that? And I was like, no, but I'll go on a ride along. That sounds fun. And I fell in love with it. I was like, I want to do this. And so I applied. And
only LAPD, or did you apply to other?
I applied just LAPD. And actually, no, I think I did apply to a couple agencies, but my heart was set on LAPD because of what I went through. Like, I went on that ride along, and I was like, I have to do this one, And so I was like, I know I was like in shape. Like, I could do, I was at the point where I could do pull-ups now, and I could do all this stuff. And, but I was like, I got to get like in better shape. Like, because now you have to jump over walls. You have to be able to keep get in a foot pursuit. Like, you have to carry all this gear. So I started training hard. I didn't take it lightly. I still believe that if you're going to do a job with people like big men that can do the job, you as a female need to be able to do that same job. You're never going to be as strong as a man. A woman has her place and a man has his place. But you can be as strong as possible, and so you can still accurately and effectively do the job. And so that was always my mentality. It still is my mentality. So I go through the academy, and so they made me a squad leader in the academy
because you were tall.
Because I was tall, big, scary. They were like, nobody's gonna fuck with her. Put her as a squad leader.
What year did you go to the academy?
2011. So, baby, right? Like, I know I don't have a million years on the job. I'm telling you, on my Instagram, people are like, "Oh, this person is no time on the job, and she was a sergeant." And back in my day, when I walked both ways uphill in the snow, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, you got me. I had less than 10 years when I became a sergeant. Okay, you got me. Burn. So. I just went off on a total tangent there. Had to throw that out there.
Had to get that one off your chest.
I just had to throw that out there. No, because it's just so funny. Like, people have this like perception of how it's supposed to be because of what they went through, right? It's like, it's supposed to be this way. You can't do that. But so I was this big, scary squad leader in the academy. And because of my fitness, that's it. It's because I did really well in the PFQ and everything. And that's why, because I had no military experience. I was not a squad leader. I'm laughing because I'm just replaying the academy and me being a squad leader. They were like,
total
okay,
command.
Total. And so they were like, you have to march your squad over here. And I was like, excuse me. Okay, I can march. I can't dance. I have no, like, the fact that I can Olympic lift is like a miracle in itself, because for some reason that clicks. I can't dance. I cannot march. They wanted me to do it in about face, and I wish I could reenact it for you, because it was everyone's laughing. I didn't look at it like, and I still think like a leader isn't somebody that's mean and stern. Like, a leader is somebody who is going to lead by example, right? I'm going to give you the respect that you deserve, right? I'm going to respect you. You respect me. We're a team here. Just because I'm a squad leader, I am no better than you. I am no worse than him. Like, we are all on the same team, and we need to accomplish this mission. That is the
point of reference. How early into the academy did they make you a squad?
Oh, the first week.
I hate to say this, they were looking to get rid of you because they were trying to push you to the nth degree.
Yes. And I think part of the thing is that, so for me, there was no punishment for me. When you yell in my face, like, I really have a hard time not laughing. Like, it really is. When people think that they're like getting me, that
goes over well.
I'm like, okay. Like, I have no bearing. I really don't. I laugh at everything. I take very little things seriously. I'm a smart ass, and it just doesn't go well. So yeah, they would yell at me, or the guy sitting next to me was our class leader, and he was like my big brother. Like, we literally, he would make me laugh on purpose because he knew I would laugh. So they ended up separating us. They were like, class leader and squad leader. Okay, you're sitting over here and you're sitting over here. Okay, sorry. So we would have to run a lot. I don't like classroom stuff. I'm like, I didn't go to college. I came to an academy. Like, I want to go run. I want to do push-up. I want to do all this stuff. I want to go learn how to shoot. I want to learn tactics. I understand learning the laws is important also, but it was boring. And so I was not upset when we got in trouble and had to go run, but my class was. Like, they were like, stop it. And so I'll never forget this. We were all getting, because of me laughing, we were doing planks and stuff, and this PT instructor came over and was like, my last name was Rodriguez at the time. Rodriguez, why are you the only one not sweating? Is this too easy for you? And I was like, yes, sir.
Perfect.
But it's like, I'm not going to lie. It is. Like, I'm holding a plank. Like, we're not doing anything. This is not easy. I'm not sweating. So they made me stand at attention and made everybody else run. And it was so funny because they come over to me and they were like, hey, so after the academy, can you stay and help us with our squats? I was like, sure. So eventually they fired me as a squad leader, and I got called into the DI's office, and he's like, do you know why we're firing you? And I was like, is it because I laugh too much? And he was like, yes. I was like, I'm sorry. So he's like, but I'm going to keep you as the female squad leader. So you're going to be in charge of the females, and I'm going to make you a what's it called? A road guard, because I love running so much. So that was my pet.
Road guard is actually a difficult task in the academy. It's like sprint ahead and clear that intersection.
And then come
and
back.
then wait
Yeah.
for everybody to go by and then catch up again.
Yeah. It was
You're
awful.
like, wait a minute, I just read double what everybody else did.
It was awful. But I remember, back to my whole point, I remember someone saying, because I was like, when are we don't have to do pull-ups? And the girls in the class, some of them were like, well, if we had to do pull-ups, we wouldn't even be in the academy. And that bothered me. And I'm like, why can't you do pull-ups? Like, shouldn't you be able to do the same job? Like the same, well, that's not fair. I'm like, what do you mean it's not fair? So that's kind of where I started to learn that there was like, some people just don't give a shit about the job. They really don't. And I'm not saying that if you can't do pull-ups, you don't give a shit about the job. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the mentality is so different because I cared so much that I was going to be in the best possible shape I could physically and mentally to do this job. But not nobody else, but a lot of other people don't look at it like that. They just think like, oh yeah, I'm just going to be a cop and then get a paycheck and it's going to be great. Which I'm like, what happens if you get in that life or death situation? And we've seen it time and time and time and again on social media, on the news, where you have someone that's incapable of doing their job and they get hurt or killed or get somebody else hurt or killed. And that is why this is so important. And that's why I look back on my life and I joked earlier, like, I wonder how different my life would be if I never became a police officer. But God does everything strategically. He put CrossFit in my life and did all these things to get me through all the way to where I'm at today. And I know it sounds like so corny that fitness is going to be like this like savior in your career and all stuff, but it's true. And I feel like only people that care as much as people like us care, they're the ones that get it. Or when you're in that life or death situation where you're like, I'm just going to have to wait for backup now or I'm going to die. It's like, then they probably go through that like, man, I wish I would have done something before, right? Like I wish I would have trained harder. I wish I would have prepared my mind. Even when I run, like on workouts, when I would do like 400-meter runs, Helen, 400-meter run, was it 3 rounds, 400-meter run, kettlebell swings and pull-ups, right?
Yes.
21 and 12. Yeah, I think so. It's been a really long time and I'm not going to plan on doing it anytime soon. But I remember like I would do my 400 and I'd be broadcasting because I'd run on my street. Like I'd be like, okay, show me going westbound on this street and follow me, like, whatever it is. And I would broadcast it because I'm like, I want to train. I want it to be second nature. So I am not that person, that female that got beat up or that is incompetent. Like I just never wanted to, and I say female because it's true. Like the females that have gone before us that have revolutionized police work, like there's something to be said for them. They made a name for females forever in history, but it only takes one female to ruin that. It really does. It takes one incident to be like, well, shocker. She's a female, of course. Do you know what I mean? And it takes all those years of the hard work from the people that were deserving and worked hard and were badass women to undo it all with one incident, right? And it's like, I never wanted to be that person. It was like,
I just had a recent guest. She spent a career in the Navy in EOD. Total male. I mean, you went into the military and then you went into the ultimate uber male dominated arena. And we were talking about that. And it's like a guy comes into the EOD community. If he screws up and makes a mistake, he just made a mistake, kick you out, move on. Next guy comes in. There's never that last guy. But as a woman, you not only have to perform, but you're now carrying the banner of, if you don't perform, you set the tone for all the future women coming behind you. That's just added.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And again, I'm not this like crazy feminist. Like I don't, I believe in fairness. Like I do. I think that you earn your keep. There should never be, you're going to be a sergeant because you're a female. You're going to get this EOD position because you're a female. It's because I earned it.
What are the standards? And if I pass it, give me the opportunity to do that.
Don't dumb it down for me. Don't say, oh, I don't have to do pull-ups or I don't have to do this. I want the same standard because if I cannot pass that standard that this man did, I shouldn't be there. That's what I think. I don't think like, oh, we should just like, let's lower the standard. Instead of running a 10-minute mile, you can do a 15-minute mile. Okay, so you want me to walk? Like, cool, awesome. But I'm exaggerating, but it's just, keep those same standards so that way we can truly earn it and not have it say, oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that. But there is that added pressure as a female. It really is. I mean, it's just a fact. It's not like an opinion. It's a literal fact. It's different. You need to earn your keep.
I remember, so I went through LA Sheriff's Academy because it was a participating agency. My academy class was so small because of the hiring freezes and everything going on in the early 90s that we started with like, I want to say 45 people. It was a baby class.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't even a class. We were a platoon.
Mm-hmm.
But the early runs that we were going on, if you remember, like post had sets wickets. You run this distance, this time, and you progress through the academy. Well, we were running faster than that early on, and they had to pull us back. Like, yeah, we're exceeding what post says.
Mm-hmm.
But the class right after mine, and I don't believe they did it more than one class, they actually tried a segregated group. So there was the A fitness people, the B fitness people, C fitness, and I think it went all the way down to D, which was basically just go walk the laps. And that's what they wanted to try. It didn't end up successful.
And that's just such a disservice to them in the future. Not just, them and the community and your partners. I mean, it's just in danger. It's just, why would you want to lower that standard and have the bare bottom potentially get through the academy and become a police officer, a sheriff? It's like, why would you do that to somebody?
Does LAPD have a mandatory annual physical fitness after
No.
you're out of the academy?
Fuck no.
It amazes me that they've still been able to prevent that from happening. To my knowledge, the greater majority of law enforcement agencies still don't have.
They don't. It should have. I mean, again, I'll probably get so much hate for this, but like, I really think that they need to bring that back, but also just have an incentive. Like, hey, you have to do this every year. If you don't pass it, you will not be in the field. Bottom line. And you have this many days to pass it, or otherwise you're gone. I'm sorry, but like, you don't come on the LAPD or the sheriffs or any police agency to become fat, out of shape, and do admin or go to IA. Had to throw that dig in there too. But I mean, that is not why people should come on the job. You want to go be a police officer, then be a police officer. Go train, stay in shape. I mean, if not for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your partners, do it for somebody else. If you can't care enough about yourself, find somebody else to do it for. I mean,
that's my soapbox. Your fitness you don't have to be a 5-minute miler, bench 700.
No.
A basic level of fitness will get you through your career. Your job should never be the reason why your partner doesn't.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I hate to sound not selfish, mean. I really don't care about you.
Yeah.
It's your job to make sure that guy or that girl goes home to their family.
Yes. And that's, again, circling back now, why I put a CrossFit gym at 77th. And so we got it done. It was me, a lieutenant, and another officer. Us three put the work in, got donations, got it built, got it approved. And it's such a beautiful gym. I mean, it's outdoor. You have this huge rope climbs, squat racks, pull-up bars, all the way. I mean, you could fit like 20 people on there probably. And a Connex box with all the gear and stuff. And every partner that I worked with, I was like, you're going to work out with me before work. And most of them were like, cool, whatever. But there was one day, it was pouring rain. And they were like, well, we're not going to work out. It's raining. And I was like, oh, do we get to go home today? We get to go home because I don't have to work today? Okay, cool. No, I'm like, so here's my thing. You train in the environment that you're going to be in. Are we going to get in a fight in the field in the rain? Or are they going to say, oh, you know what? It's raining today. We're not going to get in a fight. You need to train your ass in the field. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's wet. We're going to do it. My partners hated me. They loved me, but they hated me. But it's true. It's like, we're going to train no matter what. And now we have no excuse. We have this gym here. And it was awesome. Like, people used it. I mean, not only that, and one of the pushes and one of the things in my proposal to the deputy chief was putting this gym here is going to bring not just our officers, but you're going to have SWAT, Metro, K-9 that are going to want to use this gym because there was nowhere else in the department like it. And you can be in any division and
SWAT hadn't already adopted CrossFit?
They had, but they didn't have how much equipment was there. SWAT is special, but they still would come. Like the lieutenant that helped put it up there I don't know if he still is, but he is the SWAT lieutenant.
Got it.
So, and again, he's one of my favorite people. He was so funny. One day I was pregnant with my first son, and I was up on the roof because that's where it was. It was on the roof of the parking structure, and his SUV was backed in with the music playing, and he was working out, and it was Murph Day. It was the time for Murph. And I get up there and I'm pregnant and I bring the rower down because I was going to row the mile instead of run because it just sucks running when you're pregnant. And he's like, oh, what are you going to do? And I was like, Murph, what are you going to do? And he's like, you're going to do Murph? He's like, well, like my knee's been bothering me. I don't know. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't know that was an excuse, but okay. I was like, I'm pregnant. I'm going to do it. And he's like, damn it, Sarah. Now I have to do Murph. So we're sitting.
Whatever motivation.
Right. So we did Murph together. It was so funny. He was so mad at me, but he was like, not real mad, just competitive mad. But it's true. I'm like, now you have people from like these specialized units that are going to be at the station just in case. You have all these extra resources on hand at different times of the day because now you have this gym that people want to go to. Since then, I think they have like their own stuff now. But I mean, this was a long time ago, 10 years ago. And
did they ever adopt CrossFit in the academy?
I don't know. I think they did. I think so. I'm not 100%. I know they did in SWAT for sure. They came up with their own PFQ, their SWAT PFQ, which you had to wear a gas mask. I did it a couple of times when they were like, "Where's what we're gonna do?" I'm like, okay, I'll go try it, and I died. It's like, yeah, I can't wear a gas mask. I mean, I guess you can get to that point. You just got to train because it's like you wear a gas mask for like the 400 meter and to carry some weights while you're running. And I mean, it's hard, but you can train to it. It just depends on what you want to get to. But yeah, they did. They adopted it in SWAT. And then there's some other agencies that actually made it their PFQ, not LAPD. It's not a PFQ for them, only SWAT. But I do, going back to, they should have an annual physical requirement. And like, why not incentivize it? Hey, like you'll get a bonus, just like we have LAPD has bonus, the shooting medal. You can get sharpshooter, expert, DX, and every level you go up, you get added pay. Why not do that for fitness? I don't understand why they wouldn't do that.
This October 28th and 29th, the Military Officers Association of America is bringing together 3,000 voices, military leaders, warfighters, veterans, and families at National Harbor in Maryland for their inaugural conference, Total Force Plus. This isn't just another military conference. It's a mission to advance solutions for our military and veteran community, including leadership development, quality of life, military transition, and maximizing the veteran's experience. It's all on the table. This is where the next generation of military solutions will be tackled, at the first and only military conference where people outrank everything. And because the mission is so important, MOA is making attendance free for those who are currently serving, the spouses of those currently serving, and all federal employees within the DoD and VA. Secure your seat now, as tickets are limited and offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit TotalForcePlus.org to see if you qualify for your free ticket and to register for the conference.
You would decrease the amount of people going IOD because you have more fit people because they want more money. If anything will motivate a cop, it's fucking money, right? I mean, they want a discount. They want more money. I mean, that's 100%. Oh, how I can get more money? How can I do that? Just by working out? Done.
Everything that we do in the academy requires some sort of annual certification, maybe even some biannual, but driving proficiency, shooting proficiency, self-defense tactics. But you had to pass a PFQ to get on the job.
Yes.
It doesn't, I don't want to see standards lowered, but what I'm getting at is maybe you don't have it as strenuous, but something that's basic.
Right. You should be able to finish a mile run.
Yes.
Right? Like you should be able to run. And if not a mile, a 400, right? Like you should be able to run one lap around the track in,
do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, some mountain climbing.
Yeah, I would say you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to do a 400. That's a decent standard. That is enough time, right? I mean, that's a pretty good. Do something like that. You have to do 20 push-ups and 30 sit-ups. I mean, something simple. That's not hard. That's like our warm-up, right? I mean, you do a 400 for a warm-up, some push-ups, some sit-ups, some air squats. Let's go. So I feel like that would be a really good incentivizer. Like, hey, we'll give you an extra.
There's ways you can incentivize it. It doesn't have to be straight pay. It could be time off, a day off or something.
Yeah, if you don't want to do it financially, we'll give you a day off or whatever. Or you can make it even better. Hey, if you work out, we'll give you time to work out.
Yeah, pass the PFQ, you get an outreach day on duty.
Something. There are ways to do it, but they're not going to do it because it makes too much sense.
Well, and it's not anything new. It's been this way. I was in law enforcement 35 years, and there were times that they tried to implement it. Fortunately, with a lot of the younger generations, they are just staying with working out more often after the academy. But for the longest time, I graduated the academy. I don't need to work out. Mm-hmm. And you'd look at them and you're like, I just don't understand.
That's the easiest part of your career is the academy. Truly. That academy is the easiest part of your career.
Because you get the reset button.
Yes. And if you fail the PFQ, you get a second chance. If you fail that in the field, you die. Like, I don't understand. Why would you think that you need to stop training after the academy? Like, that just never clicked in my head. Especially with like jujitsu and shooting is another one. No, most people, so LAPD, I mean, again, I haven't been there in 3.5 years now, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed, but you qualify every other month with your pistol. What? And then you have to bring your own ammo if you want to shoot extra? What are we doing? What are they doing? When I went to a training at Riverside County Sheriff's, did a MACTAC training over there, which I paid for out of my own pocket because I wanted extra training, right? That's what you do to get better. And they were telling me, because we went to their facility, they had their own shooting range, a beautiful shooting range, full blown. They're like, yeah, you can come anytime you want and just shoot. I'm like, how do you have to bring your own ammo? What do you mean? It's all here. Like, what? What? Granted, I know they don't have as many officers as we do, right? Or as LAPD does. I keep saying we, as LAPD does. But still, there is a way to make that happen. How about you take away all these spots that you have created just to promote people, save some money, and put it into your officers. Invest into your officers, right? Invest into their shooting. Invest into their tactics. Invest into their fitness. That way you don't have to do these critical incidents where we're completely embarrassed. It's like, they're just so ass backwards. We are, the way policing is today is so ass backwards. And I cannot speak for every agency because I can only speak for LAPD. But and I know that's going to piss people off, but that's the truth. Because if they cared about it, they would put their employees first. They would have them be forced to be fit, check on their mental health, have them shoot, pay for jujitsu, have that stuff instead of going and spending $500 a month to go and get lessons and do all this stuff. Make that something like in another incentive. You get a uniform bonus every year. How about a bonus to go jujitsu? How about you supply them ammo and they get to go and shoot whenever they want to get better. Instead, you're going to make them pay for it and you're going to embarrass them because they can't qualify because you don't allow them to go and they don't have the finances to do. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of cops that you know and I know that are like going through have 3 divorces that have to pay all this money and they're struggling. Like how can I afford to go shoot on my own and pay for ammo? And ammo's expensive. It's not cheap.
My experience with agencies that I worked for, agencies that I interacted with, it feels like their mentality is when they're tallying up their budget spreadsheet at the start of the year or start of the fiscal year, instead of taking more money and putting it towards officers, they'd much rather go to Vegas. I'll use a term, go to Vegas and roll the dice. We'll pay for the lawsuit down the road, but we'll save the money now.
Yes.
You would, less officers injured, less officers out on IOD, potentially less money being paid out in lawsuits because they weren't overreacting and the one thing I don't think a lot of people like to hear is, a lot of times they overreact because they're fearful.
Yes.
They're not confident in their ability. They're not confident in their fitness. They know that if this fight goes more than 15 seconds, they're going to be gassed.
Yeah.
And so they overreact. And
Yes.
so it's that big overreaction that now causes, and you see the payouts at these cities, put more money on the front end and you'll pay less on the back end. That's my.
Well, it's 100%. And that's because we're going back to what you said. They react that way because it's fight or flight, right? And you don't know what you're going to do until you're in that situation because you've never been there before. But if you've been there before, even if it's something stupid like the gym, like, oh, I remember my body's remembering this pain and this like I'm nervous and stuff, right? It's like when you go and testify in court for the first time, you're like, like SAR, like you're nervous, right? It's like, oh gosh, I've never done this before. I'm nervous. Like, I hope I don't say the wrong thing or whatever. I don't have my report in front of me. But then you do it more and more and more and you get comfortable doing it. And it's just like anything else, it's muscle memory. So you train your brain and your body to be in these fight or flight situations all the time. And then it's like, oh, okay, I remember this. Okay, I know what to do. Calm down. I'm going to take a step back. And you see it. You can tell the difference when you see these incidents where you're like, oh my God, that cop was an all-star. How did he do all that? And then you see the other one that like uses that one example. She pulled her taser out or her gun instead of her taser and killed somebody. How do we go from those two extremes? And you have the same job to do here. Not the average person in the field, I would like to think, would not accidentally pull their gun out instead of their taser. You would know the difference, but that you would think. But you show the lack of training and the lack of discipline mentally and physically, and that's what led to that. And again, I'm not going to sit here and prejudge her because I don't know what's going through her head. But just from that simple what happened and my intuition of what happened, that's what I'm guessing. She's probably never or hasn't been in that situation in 20 years or however long it had been. And it's like, oh, my body and brain don't remember the situation. What do I do? But if you, like you said, at the front end of it, invest into your officers, actually give a shit about them where you want them to go home. I don't want to put them in a situation where they're going to get killed, get their partner killed, or have some potential lawsuit or kill a citizen, right? I mean, you don't want them to kill some innocent person either. And then they have to live with that for the rest of their life. It goes even into driving. You can take it in any aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You go in this pursuit and you're like, oh, tunnel vision, because my brain's never been here before. I'm hyped up. I don't know how to deal with this. So I'm not going to look at anything else. Then you end up killing somebody. And it's like, now that officer has to live with that for the rest of their lives if they're not going to be criminally charged or whatever nowadays. And it's like, the department needs to care about their officers. And even if they only look at it selfishly from a monetary standpoint, like you said, it's going to save you so much money down the road. It's going to save so much money in those lawsuits from citizens, for retaliation lawsuits because, oh, they didn't like me and this and that. And it's like, well, I did everything I could. No, I asked for help and nobody gave me help. And now I'm going to sue them because I did all this stuff now. Now I'm going to sue them. I mean, whatever the situation is, you can be the extremes of both ends of the spectrum. But if you invest into your officers with the physical fitness, with shooting tactics and mental health, oh my gosh, you're going to have a different police department. And I also think that would help. I'm going to use this like cliche and this term that every agency that's political likes to use, bridge the gap. You will make that gap closed between the community and the police if you have normal fucking cops and a normal person, like a compassionate person and understand, not a pissed off one who's so mad because the department doesn't care about me. I asked for help and I tried to go shooting. I have to pay this. I failed qual. All this stuff adds up. But if you have a department that cares about you and gives you those resources and makes it basically impossible for you to fail, what are you looking at? What kind of department are you looking at now?
They've not done that to this point. What would it hurt to even try?
Right.
Just
give me the keys, please. I will go and fix it.
You're the next.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty well hated right now, but it's fine.
They have tried this model ad nauseum for decades. We're still dealing with the same problems in 2025.
Yeah.
Why not try something different?
Mm-hmm.
At least have the data to go, you know what? We tried it for 3 years. We tried it for 5 years. We still ended up with the same results. Okay, fine.
Go back to how
But you don't.
You don't know. But it's that whole thing. Like, and I'm sure there are agencies that have changed things that I've seen in different states.
But they're onesie
Not
twosies. It's not across the board.
right. And it's like, but like LAPD has this thing. Well, this is the way we've always done it. Their
The best thing
mentality.
to-
That's the way we've always done it. You know, and LAPD. I will say this. Like I feel like I'm bashing LAPD a lot, and I don't mean to do that. It's just the political side of it and the leadership. I am bashing a lot of it. But LAPD as an institution, the officers, the majority of the officers that make it up are amazing and some of the best fucking people I've ever met or worked with in my life. LAPD has the best tactics, hands down, I will say, in this country, if not the world. People look to LAPD to go learn their tactics. So I'm not going to say, I'm not trying to bash LAPD. I'm really not. I'm just like the underworkings of it. I'm bashing a little bit. But as a whole, but I think my whole point is because LAPD has such a great reputation and they are phenomenal with their tactics. And I really think that people do need to do things more like them. Like we do have the best tactics.
You have the best
and the best uniforms. I mean,
you are the Marine Corps.
Yes. I mean, there's nobody sharper than LAPD. There really isn't. I mean, there's the clean sleeves and you got your Class A's on. I mean, it's great. And so I think that is what goes into the heads of the leadership, right? It's like, but we're the best. Why would we change it? We've always done it this way. And it's like, well, we're not saying to change your uniform and your tactics and all the stuff that makes you an awesome department. Because our tradition is unlike any other agency. We do have an awesome tradition. And I'm not saying to change that, but things have gone sideways. They have gone sideways.
Tradition's great, but everything has to evolve.
Yes. And it's like, but you got to like at somewhere along the line, and I don't know when, like you can't put your finger on it, but it's just been a progression. And I could get political, but I really don't want to. But there has been a significant change in the officers and the leadership. And there's this disconnect where it's literally this disconnect. So when and I'll use an example. When I was a sergeant, I would tell my officer, like I would never tell them like, oh yeah, like it sucks, like command staff, this and that. I always told them to complain to me and I'll go complain to them because I am the line between you and command staff. Like you should never know this. My job is to be here and support you. I am here for you guys and whatever you need, and I'm going to protect you, whatever it is that you need. If you need a backup, if you need a supervisor, if you need advice, whatever, I'm here. If you have a complaint that you want me to run up, that's through me, chain of command. But I'll never go and bitch to you about this stuff, right? And so it's always that you want to be that leader that's going to be, you're unaffected. Let me take that brunt. Let me take all that up to the command staff. But my whole point to that is that there is this disconnect, right? It's like you have officers over here, command staff over here, and then you have us little minions of sergeants trying to like calm everything down on both sides, right? And that's where it went sideways for me, just to throw that caveat out there, because I was very pro them, because that's important. This is the backbone of your department. Your officers are your department. All this admin stuff, like, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. These guys matter. And
where did that leadership style come for you?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say it's just I want to say it probably started in my gym. I mean, I've always been somebody, you can ask my husband because he gets mad at me all the time. I do too much for people that don't deserve it. But I have a big heart. Like I really do. I want to like fix everything. Like if I see somebody struggling, it's like, I want to fix that. Like, how can I help you? Like, I know I can't fix all the problems, right? But I want to like, okay, what do you need? What do you need? Like, what's going to make this better? This is going to be, okay, let me figure that out. I've always been that kind of person. Owning my gym really helped leadership wise because I mean, I was the owner and people looked up to me. Like, how can I lose weight? How can I be healthy? I have diabetes. How can I get rid of my diabetes? Let's do it. I want to be able to hold my grandkids again. I can't walk well. Let's do it. I mean, it's always been that like drive to like help somebody. And so I think my years from that and then my years working 77th, I'm going to throw it out there again, I had phenomenal sergeants. And I will say that's probably like now thinking about it, like those sergeants, I saw what they did for me and for my partners and how they cared about us. And I was like, that's the kind of sergeant I want to be. I'm gonna say this, like, so for LAPD promotions, and I don't know how it was everywhere, how it is everywhere else, but you take a test. If you pass it, you take an oral. If they make that band, if you band high enough, or if they make it, you get to be a sergeant. You don't earn it. That's it. You do not earn that spot. It's just a freaking test. Anybody can do it, right? So I took the test, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be a sergeant." I had 8.5 years on when I took the test. I'm like, I'm not going to make it." And then I was at the river. I'll never forget, on vacation, and one of our buddies was like, "We have the transfer. You made sergeant." And I was like, I didn't think that I was gonna make it. I was like, "Oh shit, where am I going?" And they were like, "You're going to Hollywood." And I was like, "No, no. Like, I don't want to be sergeant anymore. Like, I don't want to go to Hollywood. That's I don't want to go to Hollywood. Like that, I had a bad experience as a P1, like as a probationary officer. I don't want to go back there. Like, no. And my husband at the time was like, "Come on." He's like, "Dude, you just take it, see what it's like." He's like, "It's good for the family. Like, you're gonna have an increase in pay. Like, you'll be fine, this and that." And okay, I'll go. And just as I expected, my first month there, it was awful. It's like, you have how much time on? Like, what? We're not listening to you, right? That's how it was. It's like, okay. And I was regretting my decision. I was like, why did I do this? I should have just stayed at P2. I get more experience in the field. But then
With LAPD, do you make the decision whether you're going to stay patrol for your career or go detectives? Or could you have, once you promoted to sergeant, could you have gone on to detective?
It's another test. You have to take a test, and it's another promotion. So you have to go and do the whole thing again. Test, oral, band, make it. So those are two separate things. But there are inside spots for sergeants, but I've never wanted to be an inside anything. Like, I want to be out in the field and I want to go do all the things. And so I struggled with myself, with my own self-confidence and like my knowledge on the job. And I'm like, man, I self-doubt, like maybe I'm not ready for this. Maybe I'm just not a leader. Like I thought I never thought I was I was never like, oh, I'm a leader, I'm going to go do this. I just thought like, maybe I can go and teach people what I know, right? And I know I don't have a ton of time on, but I have a lot of life experience, and working 77th, I have a lot of experience. Like, when you work a certain division over another one, you get a lot more experience than the average person. Like, I can do 1 year in 77th and probably have a lifetime of experience more than somebody that works Laverne PD. That's not a jam at Laverne PD. It's just, you can ask them, like, nothing happens there, right? But they have a lot of time on. So on paper, it's like, oh yeah, you've been a cop for 30.
But do the cops want to live in Laverne, or do they want to live in 77?
They want to live in Laverne, right? That's why people move there. Exactly. And there's no shade on that, right? It's like, yeah, good for you. Like, if I could go do it over, man, I would go work Laverne, never get in trouble. Hell yeah. Like, that's a smart thing to do. But I'm saying, like, so I had experience and I had knowledge to impart on people. It's like, I want to go do that. And so I took, I had this like self-reflection, like, okay, I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to go and revert back to a P2. I'll just stick it out. I could do this. And as soon as I got moved from this watch to a mid watch, my life changed, like, as a sergeant, because it was just me. I was the only sergeant on this watch, and I had these young cops, and all these cops were like, I want to go and do this. I want to get a pursuit. I want to do that. I'm like, oh, perfect. I know how to do all those things. Let me teach you. And so what I did, and something special about the watch that I worked, was that it was an overlap shift. So you had day watch, and then you had morning watch, and then you had 2 overlaps. Watch 4, which was 11 to 9. 11 to 9, and then watch 7, which was like 5:30 to 3:30. So both overlap, 10-hour shifts. And so we had the luxury of not having to rush into the field. So what I would do is like, okay, let's debrief a situation that you want to talk about from the night before. And we would go over it. Okay, let's go over that. What did you do? What would you have done differently? So then I would set up a training where, okay, instead of roll call, we're going to go meet at Hollywood South. So Hollywood had like the main station in Hollywood South, which was just like where the city council was and like the community relations and all that stuff was in. And when we came on, it was empty. So I would or like coordinate with like another unit and say, hey, can we borrow your dummy guns and stuff? And we're gonna go. So we would do like foot pursuit training. We would do MAC-TAC training. We would do all kinds of stuff. And I learned that from a different sergeant when I was at 77th who would do that for Watch 7. I was like, let's do this. Like, let's put ourselves in these situations because you might go and do that right now, right? You want to learn how to do a foot pursuit. And then I would make that person, okay, why did you chase that person? Why did you stop that person? Now we're going to talk about some case law that's good. You're going to write this down. And I would do that. And so we turned it into this like little unit. We were patrol, but we were like our own little unit. And it just completely, people were asking me, can I come to Watch 7? Like we have to put in, and I was like, I don't get to make that choice. It's not a unit. Like you have to put in a 15-7 and request it. And 15-7 is like a report, like an official from employee to like your command. And so you have to go. And
so in essence, an inter-office.
Yes, basically. They just called it 15-7. It's like Form 15-7. And so I'm like, yeah, like you don't have to ask me, like just if you want to come to Watch 7, because people wanted to be part of that. They wanted to learn and get better because they were so productive. Like the guys were protected, and they knew that they knew they were supported, and they knew I gave a fuck about them. That's the other. I'm sorry that I cuss so much. It's just I apologize if you need to bleep it out. But I cared about them. I did. Like I really wanted. And I told them our number one rule: everyone comes home. Everyone goes home. And whatever we need to do training wise, if I need to yell at you, if I have to write you up, like it's because I love you. Not really, but it's like because I want you to go home, right? It's like I want you guys to go home every night, and I want that to be memorable. So, and I've had to, like, there were incidents where I loved these cops, but they messed up really bad on this foot pursuit. And I was like, I got to write. It's progressive discipline, right? It's like a comment card. It's just a paper penalty. I'm going to write you this thing. Don't do it again, right? And it goes away, I think, after 2 years. I think comment cards 2 or 5 years. I don't know, but it goes away. You shred it in a couple of years once that time is expired. But it's just something to like, hey, this could have gotten you killed. Like you're lucky nothing happened, but you could have got you killed. So we're going to debrief that now. And so we'll go over that. And that's how I started to carry on as a supervisor. And it was like, we're going to train, we're going to do our best, and we're going to be the best. And you're going to work hard. I want you guys to get to your goals, but do it the right way. We're not going to get in trouble. You're going to work out before, and they would work out with me too. I've always worked out before work. I'd always go like 2 hours early, do an hour workout, get ready, go figure out what's going on for the day. And I was always there super early, always put the time in. And I had all the officers do the same, and they did. They all were in the gym every single day working out. And so, and I definitely got a lot of bits and pieces from supervisors at 77 that would impart words of wisdom and motivational talks. And I had this one sergeant who would always say, don't take it for granted, like The Rock instead of granted. And it was just but he was like the best sergeant we had. He just was, don't take it for granted. But he would always like, don't take what you have like for granted. And it was just so funny. But he just always got you pumped up and you're ready to go and like tear the world apart. You're like, let's go, we got this. Like you're going into battle. And it's just like, I knew I didn't have like that. I wasn't that person, but you would take bits and pieces from these supervisors that did it right. And you would do your best to be that sergeant. And then 2020 came along when like our whole city burned because of the George Floyd thing and COVID and all this stuff. And we had protests and riots, literally Hollywood is probably the hardest hit division between Hollywood and Wilshire. And it was bad. Like the whole place got destroyed. They were trying to burn our station down, and oh my gosh, it was crazy. But ended up getting Sergeant of the Year for 2020, and it was because of 2020, because of the riots and stuff and how I handled that. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm saying all you have. And I was like, I didn't do anything special. Is my whole point. Like, so it kind of was like, how sad that all I did was my job and I got Sergeant of the Year.
But, and you had enough years to know this, just being a good sergeant, and what I mean by that is taking care of your people, I hate to say this, that's not the norm. The greater majority of those who promote oftentimes are promoting just to feed themselves.
Right.
And they forget about the people that they work with. Now, the best statement I've ever heard is, I'm your boss. I don't want to be your boss. If your actions force me to, then I've got to do what I've got to do. So your actions are going to dictate what I have to do as your boss.
Right.
My goal each day is to come in and make sure I give you what you need.
Yeah.
But now LAPD was bigger. Maybe you had a greater majority, but I imagine you worked for some who it's like, you don't care about us.
Oh,
You look in the mirror more times during the day to confirm that the stripes are still in your sleeves or the bar is still in your.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, more like you said, more often than not, it was that way, right? It was like and then the more time on the job, you start to realize like, oh my gosh, there are a lot of people like this because like I go back to the whole testing thing. Like it doesn't take an actual skill to be a sergeant, right? Like it's not earned. And that's the other thing that needs to change. It should be merit-based. It shouldn't be how many degrees do you have? What score did you get? What did you say the catchphrase in the
I'm good with all that because on the flip side, if you're motivated enough to go get advanced degrees, more power to you. The more educated you are, you will benefit the organization. I do believe that. The one thing I would love to see incorporated, how about a 360 review of the people that are working with you?
Yes.
You're going to find out a real good, now granted, people are going to have axe to grinds. If you've got 20 people on the shift, you already know 5 are going to write ones that are so suck ass. You're like, okay, there's nothing there. There's so much bias positively. Like they would have said this guy was the second coming of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Those 5 don't, no, I don't want to say they don't count. You know that there's going to be the bottom 5. This guy's horrible.
Yeah.
If you fish through that middle stuff, you'll get a good picture of what the person's.
Yeah, 100%. They should, but the problem with that is that the supervisors don't take the time to get to know people. Especially so with LAPD, like I always liked when I saw small agencies where the chief is coming out and like, I know this person was like knows him by first name, knows who he is, knows what he's done. And I'm not expecting the chief of police of LAPD to know 10,000 people or 9,000, however many it's at now. I'm not expecting that, but I do expect a captain to, because the captain is like equivalent to a chief, right? At a small agency.
He's running that station. He should know, she should know your people.
You should know the good, the bad. And if there is an issue, is it really that hard or inconvenient if you saw somebody, hey, I keep hearing this name, there's something going on. Does it kill you to be like, hey, let's go talk? And with the talk of like, I'm not recording this. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I want to know, are you okay? Because there's this repeated pattern of you cussing at the suspect, losing your mind, being late to work. I mean, that happens, right? And it's like, you can't take that time to, what's going on? I'm not here. I'm not going to, if you want a rep present, sure, but I'm not here to do that. But see, and that's the other side of it. It's like, now thinking on the other side, if some captain said that, I'd be like, where's my rep? I want a rep, right? It's like, because you're so ingrained in like, how is this department going to get me now? And it's like, that stigma, like everything needs to change. Like it does. And I know like I'm asking for like miracles here, right? It's like, change it. And not just with LAPD, with every agency. Like it's just goes back to God. And I know I cuss a lot, so I'm sorry, God, for cussing so much. I know it's very like double standard here. But if people would put God first, even in a police agency, gosh, how differently would people be treated? How would that lieutenant investigating this sergeant that they didn't like, how differently would you treat them if you were truly treating each other the way you wanted to be treated or the way that Jesus would treat you? And it's just, we are so far off of that where I'm not even asking for a revolution of like a come to Jesus moment from command staff, but it's like, just be a good person. Be a good person. Take a look at what your department, where it's at and what it's lacking. And where can we make that up? Be humble enough to know that, hey, there's a better possible way. And even if it just starts with captains getting to know your officers' names and recognizing that, because then they could be the ones that are like, oh yeah, so-and-so, yeah, I know them. I don't need this like pool of people to determine if they deserve to be a sergeant or not. I know them personally. I've seen their work. They're good to go. Right?
100%.
But we don't have that. You have this whole department of people that are climbers it's all me. What's in it for me? And that's what it is. And I was not like that. I'm just not like that. I'll never be like that. And even with all the stuff going on, I still, like my husband's like, like, how do you not hate this person? How are you not? And I'm like, if you let hate fill your heart, you're not going to be a good person, right? It's like, obviously, like, I've been through a lot of stuff and it sucks. And I've gone through those thoughts, but my focus is, how do we make it better? How do we not let people go through what I went through? How do we save people from not killing themselves because they're going through this internal affairs process? Or they might get charged with something because their department's throwing them under the bus. Or because the department promoted somebody that has never been in the field and shouldn't have been there. And now they got all these people killed, hurt, fired, whatever. So it's just like, how I'm at a point now where how can we make it better? Because that's all I want to do. It's like I said before, I have this bleeding heart of like, how can I fix it? And I know, and the other thing that I've learned, and you can't fix somebody, right? You can't fix somebody. Somebody has to want to fix themselves. But you can make dents.
But you can still be empathetic to people.
Yes.
You can still take each person you work with, you can still look at them as a person first.
Mm-hmm.
Take beyond the uniform, everything else. What's going on with you? Hey, screw you. I don't want to talk to you. Okay. If you need to talk to me, I'm here.
Yeah.
Start there. Just start taking.
Reach out.
Be a person first and be a boss second.
So one thing that I always told my officers too, and this came from a different sergeant who yelled at when I was in patrol. This person got a DUI, gone. She was off duty, and she was benched, and the sergeant came in it was a lieutenant. It was a lieutenant, not a sergeant. I still talk to her. She's one of those badass 92 riots, like stud lieutenants. Like I was scared of her in the beginning. Now we're friends, like good friends. And she was just one of those people where I was like, I want to be like her. Like, she's awesome. And she was like, this whole DUI stuff needs to stop. Take down my cell phone number. I'm not your friend, but if you're ever in that situation, you fucking call me in the middle of the night. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. And I would tell that to my guys. I said, look, again, it's that whole thing. Like, I don't want to be your boss. I'm not your friend. I'm your supervisor, but I'm going to look at you like I'm going to do whatever I can to protect you. You are my responsibility, right? You are my responsibility. I'm not like we're not going to go drinking after work. We're not going to go hang out. We're not going to go party together. That's not what this is.
You give up that when you...
Yes, we're not buddies, but I'm here for you. You need to talk to me, pull me aside, talk to me. If you are drunk and you have no option, nobody can pick you up, you don't have an Uber, you don't remember to Uber or whatever it is, call me in the middle of the night. I will come get you. I will be pissed, but you'll be alive and you'll be out of trouble. Do it. And that goes a long way. It went a long way for me and our guys with her, and it went a long way for my guys. Nobody ever took me up on that, but it opened that door for them to talk to me about their problems that was affecting work. They had enough trust to be like, hey, can I, like, I'm not in it today. Like, this is what's going on in my life. Like, I don't, and I'm like, go home. Just take a sick day. Go home. I'm here if you need anything. Go take care of your family stuff. Like, this place is second. Your family and your life is more important. But how many people are comfortable telling their sergeant that? I don't know.
We're not comfortable, and I say we in a total sense. We're not comfortable because it's not the norm. If we can start slow, I'll use the Navy example of you don't turn a ship, rapidly. It's slow. Mm-hmm. But if you just start making those small changes, you're a new sergeant. You go to your team. Hey, you guys go out and have fun? You want to use Lyft or Uber? Give me the receipt. I'll pay for it. Don't drive drunk. If you can't get one, give me a holler. Little things like that start. Maybe not necessarily in briefing, but at some point in time during each of your shifts, it's no big deal to go, hey, Bob, how you doing today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is everything cool? You good? Family life good? Just those little things, maybe they're met with resistance or, fear, apprehension, whatever. But over time, if it's genuine and you just make it habitual, not only do you start changing the culture, you change the culture at many levels. Maybe another sergeant sees what you're doing. Another lieutenant sees what you're doing. It has ripple effects. but everybody's just got to start doing the little
Yeah. And also, like, on that same token, it goes to like responding to calls, right? I mean, most sergeants don't go to calls unless you're requested. And you know, as a patrol officer, you don't like it when sergeants come to your calls, right? You're like, stay away. But on that same token, it's okay to drive by and just knock it out and just say, hey, are you guys good? Do you need anything? Right? Okay. They're like, okay, code 4, like, okay, bye. But I'm here if you need me. I'm in the area. Because what I experienced in the field was I was the one that always was in the field or going to calls. And when a backup came out or a pursuit came out or a help call came out, and it would be because typically it was you take care of your guys, right? I would go to anything Watch 7 related, and Watch 3 would go to Watch 3, Watch 2 would go to Watch 2. And there would be, so you wait. As a supervisor, you're listening, okay, is that Watch 3 sergeant going to buy it? And they would say, like, supervisor identify, supervisor responding identify. You would listen, like, okay, so then I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, I'm responding. Show me a route from the station, or show me a route for wherever. And then I'd get there, you know, like we have a foot pursuit. Now we're setting a perimeter. So I'm helping them set a perimeter. I'm getting all the stuff. And then now we're calm, right? Now it's like, okay, let's strategically get K9 here. Let's notify this person and that. Now we're doing all the admin side of it. And then that supervisor shows up. Oh, hey, thanks for handling that. I was in the bathroom. Sorry. I'm like, do you need to go to the doctor? Because you seem to be in the bathroom every time a backup comes out. So, and that's my point. Like, you think the officers don't see that? Like, why are you responding? You're not my sergeant. Like, thanks for being here. But like, they don't say that to me. But it's like, that's how I was as a patrol sergeant. Like, where's my sergeant? Oh, not here again? Cool. And it starts there too. So be that active sergeant. Like, go, and I'm not saying go and take over people's calls and like jump their calls and be like, you have to do this and that. But drive by. Hey, you guys good? That's simple. Then you start to get trust from your guys because they know you care. They know you're not sitting in the station avoiding something that they might need them for. I mean, I could go on about leadership and the issues and what needs to change. That's just little things here and there. But I do think that the whole thing needs to change. I think someone needs to come in and just be like, all right, you know, what's the saying? If it's not broken, don't fix it. What's broken? Okay. Just disassemble the whole wheel, like tear it apart and start over. Like that's what needs to happen. Like, and I do think to give the new chief McDonald some credit, I think he did do that. Like I think he went in and from what I understand, there was some reorganization in command staff. Now, I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. I don't know, but I do know that it was in part motivated because there was something wrong, right? So I got to give him some credit there where it seems like he is trying to make a difference. I don't know that for a fact because I'm not there, but so there is something broken and the new chief sees that there's some issues going on. And I don't know if you saw, but they did some RAND survey with LAPD about like how confident people are in the command staff and the department and all this stuff. And it was not good. But the sad part of it was, I think there was like 1,800 people, if not less, maybe 1,400 that actually took the survey out of the almost 10,000 employees there. And I talked to a couple of people and I was like, did you take the survey? And they're like, no way. I'm like, why? Why would you not take it? They say it's confidential, but I don't believe them. I'm not putting my name or email or anything attached to that because it's not confidential. They'll come after me. I'm not going to say how I feel. Again, how sad that you can't even take a survey to try to better the department because you're afraid that they're going to retaliate against you for speaking the truth. What does that say about your agency?
There is a little bit of it that I think is just human nature. And you're going to have that percentage of your organization,
right,
no matter how good.
Right.
But you need to look at those numbers and take the temperature of the apathy within your organization. If they're not responding to that survey, there's a reason why, and we need to work on fixing it.
Right.
I think that one of the best business sayings is make your people the best they can so that they can leave your organization, whatever it is, but make your organization so good that they don't want to leave.
Yeah. Good.
You want to deal with recruitment issues? I don't think it's not pay incentives. It's you make the organization people don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And I don't have all the answers. And I understand from an administration standpoint, You're not going to be able to make everybody happy, but I think every organization, for the most part, could make subtle changes that would have big impact.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt. There's little things that can be done that would absolutely change the impact that they had on their officers and the dynamic of the department. 100%. There's not a.
You
But
mentioned that lieutenant from the 90s. So that's when I came on. And if you ever run into anybody who was of the Daryl Gates era, they kept their IDs with Daryl Gates' signature on it,
yes,
even after new chiefs. That's a level of love and trust. I remember being at Baker to Vegas. He had retired and came into the closing ceremonies and got a standing ovation.
wow.
You know, those types of leaders, though, are few and far between.
And you know what's really funny? So as much as Moore, the previous chief, he had an opportunity to have a reputation similar to Daryl Gates when COVID happened, when the 2020 riots happened. So on that very first day, when everything broke out and the city burned, he went out there and he was like, he finally was in the mix with all the officers and was like, he saw what they're doing to them. And he's like, get that guy, get this guy. Like he's one of the guys. And all these cops were like, yes, like our chief is here. He's got our backs. Like that was it. Like it's all it took, right? For everybody to be like, our chief is a badass. He's got our backs. Like, yes.
What is the grind? It's not just a routine, but the decision we make to wake up, give everything we've got, then find a way to go further. Grind, spelt GRND, is more than a brand. It's a movement, an emotion we all feel connected to as we work daily to pursue our goals and support each other. Founded by a former Army Ranger, Grind Activewear has a clear mission to give 100% and then some more in sport, fitness, and in life. Functional, high-quality performance wear that's rooted in American culture, because you demand gear that outworks the rest. Whether you're on the field, in the gym, or building your own lane, Grind is for those who refuse to settle. Go check out the Grind Collective, that's the grndcollective.com, and tap into something bigger than clothing. And while you're there, use the promo code TRANSITION15 to get 15% off your purchase.
The next day, he's down there kneeling with his fist in the air. Completely changed 180. I'm like, you had a chance here. This was it. Like, you would have gone out as one of the best chiefs. It's all you had to do. Yeah, you probably would have gotten fired, right? And that's what happened. You probably would have gotten fired by the mayor because you're not doing what they wanted you to do. You took your cop side. But you can tell, like, that's what you wanted to do. Your heart is still there. You had that chance to go out and be the best, one of the best chiefs just on that incident alone, right? People would probably have been like, yeah, I didn't agree with stuff that you did, but we'll overlook that because you backed us on this. This was a big deal. And then that next day you turned and now you became not the best one. You know what I mean? It's like, but you have that opportunity and that's why people love Daryl Gates so much, because he had their backs and he was, I'm not going to change my mind. I support my people. That's it. Right. And
I heard the analogy of him. He was firm, but he was.
Yes. That's all people want. Be firm, but
Give me the rules to play by and hold everybody accountable. You'll never get any.
There should be no, like, let's wheel and deal and like let's get this person out of that, because it's like, no, it should be fair across the board. Right. And people talk about the Parks era of like, oh, everybody hated him. But I will say what people have to, I was before my time. This is all stories from other people. And they said, but what they will say about him is that he was fair. He was, if you got a DUI, it was this many days. If you did this, it was this many days. If you did that, it was a rubber man. Nobody got a pass. A fair across the board. Doesn't matter what rank you are, what position you are, you will get the same penalty. And so people were like, oh, we hated him because he was so hard on people, but he was fair. Can you ask for anything more?
No, absolutely not. And if you're complaining because you got smacked, look at everybody else. If everybody else is getting the exact same punishment, you got zero complaint. Now, on the flip side, when you're talking about being a supervisor, man, there's that little part of me like, God, I'd love to be back working with a bunch of young guys, and get that energy. But at the same token, on the flip side, if you're a young guy, you can't sit there and go, Well, back when she was times change.
Yes,
Times change in law enforcement.
they do.
Sit there and go, well, that sergeant used to. It doesn't matter. You're going to be held to the standards of today, not what your sergeant was held to. Things were different back.
Yeah. Imagine doing police work with body-worn videos.
I could not imagine. I never got to it.
People say like, oh, it was so much harder back then. And I'm sure like physically it was more violent, right? I'm sure. I really don't know. I wasn't a cop. I cannot talk about that, right? I can only hear the stories from everybody. Which again, like I look back at that time and I'm like, they were such badass cops. Like that's where I formed my mentality of a cop was because of how awesome they were and the shit that they had to deal with. But look at what you have to do now. Like now you have to be politically correct. You have to know the policy, know the law, know your case law, because God forbid you say the wrong thing. God forbid you can't articulate properly. And that's what it comes down to. What can you articulate? What can you articulate? Why are you stopping this person? And so me and my partner would always do that. Like I started off without body worn. It came in the middle. And so, but my partners are like senior, I always worked with senior people. And they were like, okay, you want to stop this person? Because I wanted to learn obs work. I want to learn how to be a cop. That's the job, right? Like I don't want to stop a soccer mom or a grandma and give them a ticket. That's not what I want to do. I want to get the gangster with the gun. Teach me how to do this. And so I worked with people that knew how to do that. And it was like, okay, so why do you want to stop this person? And sometimes I was like, I don't know. Like, well, we can't stop him. I know why we're going to stop him, but you can't tell me why. And they would teach me, like, this is why.
I remember being in training, and one of those ones where it's like your regular TO had a day off, so you got put with a different, and he had just come out of the detective bureau. He was a narcotics detective. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to learn everything about narcotics. We're driving around. I start asking questions, and he reaches behind him and he grabs the 5-inch thick vehicle code and he hands it to me. He goes, I could tell you that car right there has a kilo of coke in the trunk. If you can't legally get it stopped, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So learn the vehicle code and know what you can stop vehicles for.
Yep.
I was like, that 35 years later, that still sticks.
Yeah, it's true. You have to know the basics. Why are we stopping this person? Because it doesn't matter what cool caper that you get this like all this drugs and guns, but you violated his rights. And
Gets thrown out, it's pointless.
Now you got nothing. And it's like, that's why people would always say, we'd have this like friendly competition, like who's going to get the gun first today, right? And it's like, so we ended up evolving that and like, okay, it's not about how many guns you got, how many convictions did you get? Let's go that way. Like how many got thrown out, right? It's like, how many got thrown out? How many convictions did you get? But it's true. It's like what happens when it's time to articulate why you stopped that car? And it gets even harder. It might have been easier before cameras, right? It's like, oh, let's work backwards. Like we know that car's dirty and we'll work backwards. I don't know if that happened. I'm just saying that's probably stuff that happened back in.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen today.
Yeah.
If that's the way you're going to do police work, you are eventually going to get it.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Like it's going to catch up with you. Like you can't do that, right? You might have been able to get away with it before, but now with cameras, like you better know why you're stopping that person. Is it legal? Did you actually have probable cause? And now you have to look at each situation like this has the potential to be going on the news, right? Like you have no idea what incident's going to end up on the news. Is this going to end up being a big nothing? Or is it going to end up getting in an officer involved shooting where I dumped this guy, right? It's like, I have no idea. So everything you do is so overly scrutinized because it's all recorded. And it's hard. It is hard. You can't, people say compare, it's like apples and oranges. You have no idea what it's like to work with body worn cameras. Like you're going to be judged.
Well, and the additional component of that you're dealing with more and more today is your body cam better match the 15 cell phones that were taking footage.
Yes.
Also,
yes,
everything's better have a similar.
Yeah. Like God forbid your body worn gets thrown off and you don't have a chance to review it, but there's this camera here and it's slightly off. And even if it's unintentional, right? You're like, this is what I remembered. My body worn flew off. I don't know. But then this thing comes in and then it's like, oh, so now you're committing perjury? Ooh, now you're going to be Brady'd. Now you're going to be on the bench. You might lose your job. You might go to prison. I mean, it's so hard. So my whole point to that is like, that being that hard, wouldn't it be nice to have a backing of your department? Right? Like, hey, we make mistakes. We'll fix it. Like, let's go over it. Hey, let's do a surveillance. Are there videos? And we can compare it to maybe somebody will be nice and show their video or whatever. And then we can compare that. Or However, like teach them what to do. Teach these officers like, yeah, your body worn fell off. Let's go door knock this house and see if we can get access to their cameras so we can get more angles, right? We want to like mitigate risk, minimize the possibilities of this escalating. Let's get all the facts up front, put everything out there, right? But I don't know.
Well, it's even getting ahead of it too, because
Yeah.
if you over-rely, we have all the body-worn camera. Have you canvassed the neighborhood? Do you
Right.
want to be 3 weeks, a month later, and all of a sudden the neighbors releasing their ring footage or that you could have gone and got at the time of the
Yes. Like, hey, do you mind sharing that with us? We're not trying to hide anything. It's yours. I'm not trying to confiscate it, but can we have a copy of it, right? So you have nothing to hide. It's like if you're, and that's where I think that we fall short as police agencies everywhere. It's like give them the tools, tell them what they need so they stay out of prison, stay out of lawsuits, won't have to lose their house and their marriage and their kids and all this stuff that no people don't understand. They think it's just they think they're gonna come on the job and like go save the world. And it's like, I'm a cop now. And then like fast forward 5 years and they're like, man, I'm one divorce in, I lost my house, I'm benched, I'm facing charges. And like people don't understand. And one thing that I reminded myself, there was something I read talking about like your officers and the survey not wanting to do it says something about your agency. I read something on his name's Ken Roybal, LA Backgrounds. Do you follow? I'm not sure if you follow him on Instagram.
I know the name.
So he posted something, and it was a statement from a candidate that was going to be on the job. And he said he like actually did his research, like talked to people, how do you like it? You know, he's looking at different agencies, and he was like, I changed my mind. I withdrew from LAPD because I don't want to work somewhere that's going to throw their employees under the bus, has this morale, and this and that. I mean, that alone, like going back to that retention of not clients, of candidates, of employees, like keeping that retention is really hard when you have your own people saying, don't come here, go over there, right? And that's something to be said for that. And it's like, what's going to set you apart? Your tactics and your uniform isn't it anymore. Like people are not wanting to like give up all this support just for a uniform and tactics and your tradition. They want to go somewhere where they're supported. And it starts with just stuff like this. Like, hey, I got a text message the other day because I had to take my number off of Instagram because I forgot it was up there, but I'm getting text messages from random people. But it was like, hey, I'm going to start the academy soon. Do you have any advice for me? Like, I know you don't know me. I live on the East Coast. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is random. But thinking about it, I haven't answered it yet because I'm like, I don't know what advice I would give. But now like talking about it, I think number one, research the department with the employees, right? That's a great idea. Go and talk about it. But ask questions that will keep you out of trouble. Ask those questions. Learn the law. Learn from other people's mistakes and how to get better. Like that's the stuff. And then you need to know this is the reality of police work. Don't think that it's just like, I'm going to go chase people and give tickets and write search warrants and kick doors down. And I'm going to be cool. Like everything's going to be fine. It's like, no, the reality is that this job is more than that. You have a lot to lose. You have a lot to gain, but you have a lot to lose. You're responsible for taking people's rights away. That's a big deal. That's a big burden. That's a big responsibility. And you better know all the things that can be affected if you don't do it right. I mean, I think that needs to be a thing for anybody trying to come on.
I'll go back to when I started. I remember one of the pieces of advice I got. Now, you could say I worked for a small organization, small city, but I would imagine it equals out to you got assigned to 77th Division. To a degree, 77th Division is just a little city.
Yes.
The people that you interact with who live in 77th Division, when they go to jail, they're going to come back into 77th Division. Mm-hmm. So how you treat them today is how they're going to treat you tomorrow and how they're going to treat another officer. That was one of the things that I remember being told. But if somebody was asking me today, what would I recommend? You hit on it. Know the law. Know your department's policy. I hate to say this. Become a student of your department's policy. Know what they allow you to do and what they don't allow you to do. And if you operate within those parameters, 99% of the time, you should be good.
Right.
I can't say 100% because the one issue with every organization is there's people and leadership and opinions. The flip side to it, though, is, yes, you talk to somebody who's working for the organization today. They're going to say, it's a shitty organization. That's their bias based on their experience. The other thing you can't control, you could get hired today and everybody be going, Gates, greatest chief of LAPD.
Yeah.
You come out of the academy and he retires in 6 months. And now you've got a new administration.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to roll with different administrations.
Yes.
So that's,
absolutely.
I would say, default back to know your department's policy, know the law, operate within that. You should be good.
Yeah. That's a great point. I think that's good. I think other than that, it's like staying, I mean, do it, stay in shape. I mean, there's not much to it, but learn what the actual job is. That's an important factor coming on. It's not just like, I mean, I hate to bring this in, but all those TikTok cops, it's not about that. It's not getting your badge and gun and ID so you can go on, be Insta famous,
Let your
famous.
department run social media.
Gosh.
Stay off of it.
Stop it. If you want to do that, don't be on the job. You do not need to go and be a PR person for your department. You do not need to do that. Let your department do that. I don't even think the department should do that. You don't need to. They can be a fact. Here's what happened today. You don't need to be like, yeah, we're so cool. We're best friends with everybody. That's not what the job is. Police work isn't pretty. Stop trying to make it act like it's pretty. It's not freaking.
It is on TV.
Yeah,
they make it
so
TV.
sensationalized. And it's like, it's not. It's not pretty. This job is a violent job. That's why not a lot of people do it. You go home, police officers see so much bad stuff every day, and they have to mentally evacuate that from their head every single day so they don't lose their minds. This is not a pretty job. So stop trying to make it something it's not. That is the problem.
Somebody who does not want to go to jail, it's not going to look pretty on camera taking them into custody.
No, it's not.
I don't care how much training your office.
I don't care how much de-escalating that you're trying to do. When there's somebody that's 6'6" and 300 pounds on PCP, that is not going to be like, sir, please put the pipe down. Sir, it's not going to be pretty. You're not going to be word gaming him here. It's going to be pure force. You're going to use beanbags, and it's probably going to take like 100 people to take him down, right? It's like, oh, that one person, they needed 30 people on that guy. Yes, they did. 100% they did, because nobody could move his arm. He had Hulk strength. It's like you going against the Hulk. Like, yes, you cannot. So I think that that's the downfall. There's pros and cons to body worn and on the invention of cell phone cameras and all stuff, because it does exonerate people. But the bad side is it sees the ugly side of what police work really is.
The analogy that I use is the Vietnam War, in the sense that, and you're far too young to remember this, I'm sure you've seen videos. Prior to the Vietnam War, for the most part, the American public didn't know what war looked like. We hadn't had cameras embedded for the most part with troops. All of a sudden now, the Vietnam War, you're sitting down eating dinner and you're turning on the 5 o'clock news and you're seeing footage that really changed people's opinions of what war and being in the military was like. That's what we're seeing now in law enforcement. With the advent of body-worn cameras, there are good and there's bad. Yes, for the good in the sense that it's going to vindicate officers who didn't do anything wrong. On the bad side, it's showing the public that, unfortunately, no matter how much training, no matter how much de-escalation, there are just some people who don't want to go to jail.
Yes.
And if they don't want to go to jail, it is not going to look pretty.
Right. Fight or flight.
Get over it.
Yeah, it's fight or flight on both ends of it, right? It's like, it's going to be ugly. And it is what it is. And then so maybe that's where, like, I feel like some of it needs to get back out of the media. I mean, people want the results, but they don't want to know how it happened. And I think at some point, this whole changing of times with like transparency is stupid. Like, we can be transparent without showing you every detail. You do not need, here's the right to know, need to know. You don't need to know how this happened. You do not need to know. The people involved and their family, okay, go ahead. You can need to know. Why does Joe Blow get to know what happened with this person? Why does he get to know that? Why is that a need to know kind of situation? You can be transparent without showing him everything. I think that should change too, but that's never going to happen in a million years.
That again is administration.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if a chief started coming out in press conferences going, hey, we get it. Something happened, whatever it is. We are investigating it. Please give us the chance to investigate it. But at the end of the day, until I have additional information, I'm backing my office.
Yes. Oh my God. Do you know they would, if the chief of LAPD would do that, you would never have a recruitment problem again. Never. Go stand with them. Stand with your people.
But at the same token, the same way, because the one thing that I really hate is the news is quick to show you the first headline, but they never do the rebuttal story.
Never.
Of, hey, the officer was investigated, it was cleared, nothing was. No, they leave it lingering out there and let the public form their opinion.
Right. And so we go back to that reasonable standard, right? Like the reasonable officer standard. So you put this video out there. These people that are looking at this are not a reasonable person. Like they're not a person of similar training and experience as the person that's involved in that. So of course you're going to get all this stuff like, oh, they should have done this. They should have done that. Shoot the gun out of his hand and whatever nonsense, right? And that's why I'm saying the right to know, need to know. Not everything needs to be shown to the public because they're not that reasonable standard. And then it also taints any future of a jury trial, right? It's like, why? I still don't understand how there's no conflict there because if it's nationwide, we'll use the George Floyd, I forget his name right now, Chauvin, right? Derek Chauvin. Like, he never had a chance, whether he did it or not. We're not going to discuss that, right? Like, I'm not going to give an opinion. It doesn't matter. Let's just say that he was totally innocent and did nothing. You think he's ever going to have a fair trial? Every single person has seen that video, knows what happens, and it's tainted. 1000% without a doubt. And I'm using that as an extreme example, but the average incident that happens that's not politicized and exposed now is like on the news. It's just like everyone sees it, but then you're showing it to your local news and that might go to trial and you might be someone and you're telling me that nobody saw the video before and formed their opinion? Of course they did. You're not going to have a fair trial. Why are we releasing every detail of this to the public? When did that become a thing? Give them a recap. Here's what happened. This is the incident. I know some camera came out. If a camera came out, we're going to go ahead and show you the whole incident now. That's why we're showing you this, is because we want you to understand the whole picture. But not every case needs to be disclosed. That's my opinion. And I know I'm wrong on that from other people, but it truly, they like the results that happened. Yeah, they got the bad guy, but did you see how they did it? Did you see that video? Like, you're not a cop. You have no idea if that was like reasonable or not. And on that same token, you have people that are judging those officers. And I also think that the reasonable standard needs to change in a court of law because if you have a patrol officer that does something and then you have someone that works IA that's been in the field for 2 minutes, is that a reasonable standard? Do you think that's the same? They carry a badge, you get an ID. Do you think that they would have in the similar situation with similar training experience, they would do the same thing? I don't think so. I don't think that person that's never done this before, I think you take another patrol officer to use that standard.
It's a slippery slope. And the reason why I say that is because you and I are cops together. You and I both go to the academy together. You and I both hit the road and we get involved in mirror situations. Mm-hmm. You handle it differently than I do. Mm-hmm. Should you be held to the same standard as me, I'm 6'1", 200 pounds, you're 5'4",
5'1".
But what I'm getting at is, so every person brings a different aspect to the situation. You're a trained MMA fighter. I'm not saying that's the other thing though, is that everybody brings something to the table, but just because you'd be a trained MMA fighter, you shouldn't then be expected to get into a one-on-one confrontation with someone.
Right.
But in general answer to your question, yes, unfortunately, there are people who don't have the experience putting judgment on people in a situation. It's like trying to evaluate, a military member's actions when you've never been in combat.
Yeah, right. It's the same thing. It should not be, but that's what they're essentially doing with people when they release those videos and they throw them to the wolves in the public. You're taking that, don't know what they would do in that situation because they're not a cop. They've never been in that situation before. You can't sit here and have all these public people play any kind of influence in what happens to this person. And unfortunately, that's what happens from politics. There's pressure on the mayor. There's pressure on the chief. There's pressure on the commanders, on the deputy chiefs. All these people are like, oh, we got to do something. It goes political pressure. And it's like, why are we listening to people that have no idea what they would do in the situation? That person will really shoot them, right? And there's this video. I don't know if you saw it. I saw it in a training years ago, but it was a reporter in Arizona. And he was like super anti-police. And they were like, invited him, why don't you do a training day with us? We'll put you through scenarios. Did you see that video? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know if I've seen that one, but I know I've seen multiple don't shoot scenarios
Yeah.
with people who are not trained, and every one of them dumps the.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
And they dump him sooner. It's
immediately. It's like, oh my God, he's coming at me. And they shoot him. And it's like, and they don't do that to like talk shit about him. It's like, this is what we're saying. Like, you think that we don't feel fear when this happens? Of course, but it's learning that control and learning to use those tools. You don't have the training. That's my whole point. It's like, you have no idea what you would do in the situation. And you're going to sit here and talk shit about that cop who did the very best he could. Yeah, that guy ended up dying. But hey, bottom line is, if that guy would have complied and the cop was wrong, that guy'd be a millionaire right now, not dead. Right? It's like, that's what it all comes down to. So the whole body-worn video and sharing with the public, I don't know. I mean, I know it'll never change, but
we're stuck in a situation though, because playing devil's advocate and say you are the chief there, and you know that there's so much information out there beyond the body-worn camera. How do you not ignore it and go, all right, we just need to control the narrative. So if we have it, we're going to start throwing it out, get it.
See, I think there's a time and place.
But the thing is, like you said, and that's just a byproduct of our society. That's not even just law enforcement. We are in such a 24/7 news cycle. Anything happens. Forget what the crime is. I'd hate to be a criminal today because if the news reports on it, it gets blasted all over everywhere. And you're like, well, shit, now I don't have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just the society we've become. Everybody, and the thing is though, is it's not that they're curious of information. They just want the attention at that moment, because as soon as the next hot thing comes, that one's forgotten.
Yeah.
So it's just a moment of what's the hot ticket right now, and can we jump all over?
Yeah. Again, it comes down to our whole society being a me society. That's all it is. It's how can I benefit from this, right? It's like, oh, I've got this video. I'm going to release it to the news and I'm going to be rich all of a sudden, right? It's me, what's in it for me? Downfall of society.
We've hinted around it. You ended up having your career taken from you. I know you're still kind of dealing with the residual and the final steps of it.
Yes.
But as much as you can talk about your incident and what happened in the preliminary results, I'll leave it.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of how to word this, but I was a supervisor, obviously, at Hollywood. And so going back to like the whole thing about policy, like knowing your policy and procedure. Well, I was very good about learning the policy and procedure. And LAPD has a policy about complaints where it's a shall. Like, you take every complaint. Somebody comes in and says that person, they always use this example. They stole my ovaries. I wanted to make a police report. You have to take that report, right? So when I read the policy, I read it as, there's different criteria. And
this episode is brought to you by Brothers in Arms USA. They're a veteran-owned and operated clothing and accessories brand that's 100% American-made. Every piece tells a story of brotherhood, respect, discipline, and honor. Deeply inspired by those who serve, those who have served, and those who have paid the ultimate price serving our great country. Whether you're an outdoor enthusiast, a proud patriot, or simply somebody who values high-quality American craftsmanship, they've got something for you. Go check out brothersandarms.com, spelled out fully, brothersandarms.com, and use the promo code TRANSITION20 to get 20% off your purchase.
Long story short, there was this false allegation. I was present for it. And she was screaming, this is rape, over and over. But being, again, a patrol cop, and you hear that and you know it's not true, it's like in one ear out the other. So I didn't take a complaint. No, nothing happened that day. A complaint gets generated from internal affairs against me. And ultimately I was fired. And this is kind of where I don't want to get super into it, but I was fired for a false statement because certain things were put in a certain way where the statement would be false. I was terminated. So LAPD has a board of rights process. So I think like it's different civil service commissions for other agencies and stuff ours is the Board of Rights. I got relieved of duty, had a lawyer, went through the Board of Rights, and it was a 2-to-1 vote. You can pick a civilian board, you can do a command staff board. I picked a civilian board because that was what was recommended. And it was a 2-to-1 vote. The one dissenter was not guilty on everything, and the 2 said guilty on 3 of the 4 allegations. And the allegations were failure to take a complaint, failure to maintain command and control, misleading statement on my log, and a false statement to an internal affairs investigator. And I was found not guilty unanimously on the misleading statement on my log because I didn't lie about anything. And then the other 3 were sustained for a 2-to-1 vote. So since then, we did a writ of mandate, which is an appeal to an administrative decision. I started off with an attorney, the one that represented me at my board. And during this process, I mean, obviously, like, I was devastated. Like, I mean, when I tell you I've worked a lot of jobs and I've done a lot of things, I've never even had like a talk to about my work ethic, my integrity, or anything in my life. And now I'm sitting here like a disgraced sergeant, and I had promoted to detective. So I was a sergeant and it had dual status. And I'm like, cool. I am a disgraced detective sergeant. And it was horrifying. It was awful. I mean, my name was dragged through the mud. People stopped talking to me. People didn't believe me. And I was pregnant at the time. I was 6 months pregnant. So it was hard. It was really, really hard to like get through that. So I had a lawyer. We did a writ of mandate. We filed for it. And during this process, and this is why I say God is so strategic. Like in the middle of it, I'm like, why is this happening to me? I didn't lie about it. I didn't do anything wrong other than not take a demonstrably false complaint. I didn't take one. I read the policy, interpreted it differently. I didn't think one needed to be taken. She was not raped. Nothing happened. I'm sorry. I'm like, what's happening? Like, why is this happening to me? And I look back and now the amount of people that I have met through this, I met, I don't want to say his name because he's on the job, somebody who introduced me to the Blue Ribbon Foundation. And he's a retired lieutenant from LAPD. Amazing human being. Out of the goodness of his heart, was like, let me look at your complaint. And he starts taking it apart. And he's like, you're going to be mad, but your allegation for count 1 was at a statute. And that was like something pretty basic. And I'm like, oh, what? So then I'm like, okay, tell me more. So during this process, he has been a godsend, helped me learn something I had never learned before. I didn't know about a writ of mandate. So I ended up terminating my representation and representing myself because nobody, and this is advice for everything in life, nobody cares as much as you do about your stuff. Nobody. Not your mom, not your dad, not your husband, not your child. Nobody cares as much as you, and especially your lawyer. Nobody's going to advocate for you better than you.
Was your lawyer your lawyer?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so that was a big deal to do because like, it was like you drop a bomb and it wasn't easy to do. I was like, I don't even know if I could do that. I'm not a lawyer. Like, I don't know anything about court process other than what I learned as a detective and an officer at my time on the job, being a witness and filing cases. And so I made this decision and I was like guided by the Blue Ribbon Foundation and we got through it. It was messy, but so we got to a point where I just had the trial last week. And again, during this time, I met this incredible lawyer who reached out to me on Instagram. So it's like, it's funny because like social media is always like a double-edged sword where it's like, oh, you don't want to say too much, but also you kind of want to say stuff because you don't know what message you're going to get across and who it can affect and who you can meet, right? So I was very careful about what I posted. I still am. And she reached out to me and was like, hey, like your incident sounds familiar. I saw that you're going pro per. What, like, you know, can I ask you some questions? So we had a conversation and I did a substitutive attorney and she ended up being my new representation. And I was, it's always like, you just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't. You got to put the faith in God and just trust him. And we, we go to court and we had a tentative ruling. So you get that the day before the writ and it was 19 pages that were scathing in opposition to me. It's like, okay, so we're screwed. Like, I guess I'm just done, right? I mean, it's you got in your head. And my lawyer went and just did something that never happens. And she was like, just said the facts. Like, here's what happened. And the judge was like, you know what? Like, okay, I agree with this. I agree with that. And sent me back. So my current status is I'm going back to the department to go through another board of rights to re-represent the case with the facts that we have now. So it's a huge win. Like, I know it's like it's not like I don't have my job back. I don't have all the stuff, but it's one step in the right direction. And so that's why I can't say too much, but that's like in a nutshell what happened. So
what's the total start to finish? Well, not start to finish. When did it start? Because we're still technically dealing.
Right. So the incident happened in January of 2021.
Okay.
I was relieved of duty February 2022, and then I was fired June of 2023. So 3.5 years I've been away from the department. 2 years I've been fired.
Now, you brought up a really interesting point. You had people seem to say, they like to say unions, but my understanding is law enforcement agencies, at least in California, we don't have unions. We have bargaining groups.
Right.
But they provide legal assistance.
Yes.
You let that assigned attorney go. But from what you've experienced to this point, would you ever recommend going through this process without legal counsel?
What I would recommend is, so be very careful here. Like, I want to preface this with, this is not legal advice.
Because you said that you relieved your first one and you went pro per. You started taking it on yourself.
Right.
My first gut instinct is to say, though it may seem very cut and dry on the surface, there are so many things that come into legal play that I wouldn't personally ever go, I'm going to do this on my own. I would always want. Now, like going to the doctor. The first one says, hey, we're going to cut your leg off. You don't just go, okay, maybe I'll go get a second opinion.
Yeah.
First lawyer starts working your case. If you're not feeling something, go get a second.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is where I'm kind of hesitant on what to say because I did try that.
And if you're not
I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
I did try that.
Okay.
Okay. And
for anybody listening, understand that you're in an awkward position right now because it is not fully adjudicated.
Correct. So I did try a second opinion. It did not work. And I will say, I don't recommend that everybody goes and represents themselves. I don't. I am particularly strong-willed, and I have very special skills where I am very resilient to a fault, and I'm the kind of person that can handle that. Like, I don't know that everybody could do that. I had my moments of like, what the hell am I doing right now? But I knew I have no quit option in my brain. So for me, I was like, I'm doing this. Like, I dropped the bomb. It's on. Like, I gotta do it. Like, there's shit.
I jumped out of the airplane.
I gotta do it. Like, there's no going back now. It was scary for sure, but like, I wouldn't recommend that everybody do that. But like with LAPD, we have a section called ORS, Officer Rep Section. What I would recommend is, there's a couple of things I would recommend. Maybe start there, because these are people that work with you that know the policy better than a lawyer does, because these are employee representatives that are also employed by LAPD and know the policy inside and out. Start there before you go to the lawyer route. Secondly, one thing that I would do differently, if I could give myself advice, I would say, don't use an attorney from the league. Get your own attorney. Find your own attorney and pay them out of pocket. Because it's not as expensive as you think just to have somebody come and represent you at an interview. So it's like I'm like, if I would have just hired this lawyer, I would have saved me 3.5 years of hell, right? I mean, because there's stuff that where it's like, well, no, like we don't even, like, what are we doing here? I mean, there's just certain things that would have been not on the table. So, but again, like, things happen for a reason, because now I'm able to be here and not let anybody else have that happen to. I can't tell you the number of people since I first went on Marlon's podcast have reached out to me about, hey, this is my story. How can I fix this? Or what can I do? Hey, I'm at this stage. What can I do? And I always start, I'm not a lawyer. I want you to know that. This is just what I would do. And I don't that's why I'm saying, like, I'm going to preface this. I'm not giving advice. This is just what I would do differently. I wouldn't recommend everybody go and represent themselves and think they know it all, because there is a lot more. And that's where my lawyer came into play, where I was like, well, I have exhausted my abilities to represent myself. I cannot take it any further. Like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what I'm doing at all, but I did my best to get through it. Now it's time to give it to the professional. So know your limitations. If you think like, hey, I can do this, like I've got I know the policy inside and out. I'm very resourceful. I can go and find out how to do this, and I'll go and do it. Cool. Do it if you think you can, but I wouldn't recommend the average person go and represent themselves. But I do think that they should get second opinions, maybe look at outside counsel to see, because like going back to the whole department, it's when you have a chief or your sergeant or your captain that's like, hey, I care about you, and shows that. All people want is that their representation is like responsive and like, I care about you. This is what we're going to do. And you communicate with them. That's all they want. Don't leave them in the dark and like, I know what I'm doing. I'm not like, don't talk to me about that. Like, don't dismiss them. Don't dismiss your client. Like, show them that you care. Even if you don't really care, show them that you care. Tell them.
This might just be another case to you. This is their entire.
This is my life. You ruined my life. Not you. This whole thing ruined my life. Like, I was 6 months pregnant. I couldn't go get another job. I had a high risk pregnancy. You know, it was like, I couldn't just be like, hey, I'm pregnant. Can you hire me, please? I'm about to have a baby. Go out on maternity leave. I couldn't do that. Like, you don't realize what you're doing to people. And this process, like the internal affairs process with everybody, is so horrific. It is just like it's like trauma in itself. It really is. And I know that might sound like funny to some people that have never been through it, but when you go through it, it does something to your brain. I mean, I was like looking at myself differently. I was like, man, like I am a loser. Like I can't even, like I don't have a job right now. Like what? I'm like, I mean, negative self-talk to the T. Like I said all the bad things about me. And it was just that moment of like, you're pregnant, you're about to have a baby, snap out of it. Don't be a bitch, like man up, you know? And it did. Like I had to like, you know, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Now you need to be on what are you going to do to fix it? What are we going to do to make this better? You need to be on that, you're on the defense now. Like we got to go and like figure out what we're going to do.
Well, and you brought up something that I don't think gets the fair attention. Inevitably, from within inside an organization, everybody now knows that you're the subject of an IA, especially once you're terminated.
Oh, yeah.
The people, even people who are your friends, are limited in what kind of interaction they can have with you. Now it makes everything, whenever you're in the station to go for a meeting or whatever, it just becomes freaking awkward.
Yes.
And all of that, this has nothing to do with whether you're, I'll use the term guilty, not guilty. It's the mental aspect that comes with it. The people that you thought were your friends who pull away from you, the people who are your friends, but because they need to protect their careers are kind of forced to pull away from you. Supervisors are now like, whoa, now I'm in an awkward position. I was a supervisor, but there's so many side aspects separate from just the investigation.
Oh, yeah.
That have impacts.
Yeah. Even just like people, when it first happened, oh, like this is bullshit. Like I'll be a character witness for you at your board. I got you. I'll go and do this and that. And then it comes down to it, cricket.
Be careful who you listen to as far as your peers.
Oh, yeah.
For advice.
Nobody is going to, you need to go into, if you're the subject of an IA investigation and you're about to go through something bad, nobody is on your side. You need to go into it that like, if you get someone, that's a win. Nobody cares. Nobody's on your side. Everyone's going to turn their back on you. If you go into it that way, you won't be disappointed because most of that will come true. It's true. And then those rare people that are like, hey, and I had a few people that were like, and they showed up for me. They did. They showed up for me and I had great character witnesses and, you know, and that meant a lot. And I even like during my board of rights, a lot of people don't like this captain. I'm not going to say his name, but a lot of people don't like him. And he was actually an expert witness for the department to continue to terminate me, like to push their case to terminate me. And this captain was being interviewed by my attorney and was asked the question, he was my captain at the time, but when I was a sergeant. And did you remember Sergeant Dunster? I was like, I did. And he's like, was she known for like getting in trouble or like, and he could have answered like, I don't remember. I don't know. He looked at me dead in the eyes and said, Sergeant Dunster had a great reputation as a great sergeant. And I was like, I just had tears streaming down my face because I was like, he didn't have to do that. So there are people that have some balls on the job that know that, hey, like I could tell like he's like, you're being done dirty here, but I can't say that. But so that went a long way for me. Like I'm gonna remember that forever. Like I don't care how many people hate that guy. He's okay in my book because he didn't have to do that for me. So there were people that did step up, but if you can go into it with very low expectations, then you'll be all right. But if you have these expectations, like all these people are going to come through for you, they're not, because it comes down to that. If I go and testify at her board of rights as a character witness, they're not going to promote me. They're going to come after me now. I don't want to be associated with that. And in fact, that's happened at board of rights before, where people have been in the hallways getting ready to go, and someone will come out and be like, "Hey, bro, don't testify with them. You're not gonna," and they'll leave, and then you go to get them, and they're gone. It's like, well, I don't have anybody. That's happened many, many times. Didn't happen to me. I can't say that. I was very fortunate. Like there are people that just didn't show up, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do that." They straight told me like, "No, I'm not gonna. I can't. My position. I'm not. Make up lies of why they can't do it." But I had people that came through for me, and it was very powerful, and I'll never forget it. I mean, but for the most part, you are alone in that process, other than your friends and family. So if you're going to rely on people on the job, don't do it. Trust it. I mean, you can trust them with your life as a partner on the job, but as far as like the mental aspect of it and the administrative side of it, you are alone. So have a good support system and know that, because nobody's gonna show up for you.
And unfortunately, like I said, guilty or not guilty, you do become toxic.
You do. Yeah, I am the black sheep. It's like, yeah, she's a liar anyway. So, and that's like, I think what was so hard for me to just like that, what motivated me to clear my name. I know I'm not cleared yet. I mean, and I kept going back and forth with the struggle. Like, who cares what they think about you, right? It's like, who cares? Like, I know I'm not a liar. He knows I'm not a liar. Like, my husband knows I'm not. Like, the important people know who I am and what I am capable of, and my integrity and my ethic and all the things.
But our careers are built on our integrity.
Yes, but you just pull that rug from me to make it where I can't be a cop ever again. And now my reputation is like trying to get another job. Good luck with that. I applied to like 50 jobs, and on these jobs you have to put, have you ever been terminated? I'm not going to lie on an application. So it's like, yes, thank you for your application. We're going so cool. Like, bye. It didn't just ruin my career with LAPD. It ruined my chances with other careers. It ruined my reputation, with former friends, former coworkers. But I will say, like, I'm very lucky, and I never will take this for granted. People have still checked on me that I used to work with, like, hey, like, I'm on your side. I'm praying for you. Like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm just checking in. It's not very many people, but I have people. And I am just forever grateful for that, because I didn't expect anybody to text me or call me or to go to coffee with me. So it's been a blessing for me. I think that it does matter. Like, so I think people do need to look at those people that are going through it, even if you don't agree with them, or even if you think they messed up and they probably deserve it or whatever, reach out to them anyways, because they need it. That little text message might save their life. I've talked to people that went through it, that this one guy told me, he's like, man, I sat there with a gun to my head and I wrote my goodbye letter to my family because I was done. He's like, what? Like, I had nothing. Like, they destroyed my life. They ruined me. And he's like, what happened was he heard his kid's voice, like, say, Daddy. And it stopped him. And he was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And put the gun down. And he just like got on his knees, and he was like, that was a sign from God. That was God saying, like, stop what you're doing and come back to me. And he ended up getting his job back. God, he stuck with it and he got his job back. And it makes me emotional thinking about it. Like, he was so close to just ending it all, right? And the department and people associated with it and these coworkers and friends do not realize how big of an impact that one text message will be to somebody. And there are stories, there's hundreds of stories like that where that one person showed up at my house, that one person gave me a call, that one person texted me, like, this happened and it just saved my life. And I think if people just put their own me motivation aside, like, who gives a shit if you make sergeant or captain or whatever? When you leave that department, nobody's going to be like, oh yeah, that badass captain, unless you're Daryl Gates. He's a legend and legends never die, right? But you're the average person. Nobody's going to remember you or give two shits what you did in your time on the job, because once it's over, that's over. You are just a number. The people that matter are your family and your friends. That's it. Your family. I don't even want to say your friends. They do matter, but your family is it. And if you don't have them and you're going to abandon all them for these people at work, got to think twice about that.
Well, and something to think about. If you do claim to be a friend with that person going through that IA investigation, and if you've made your judgment that what they did was wrong, you can tell them that. Hey, I'm your friend. I think what you did was wrong. But at the end of the day, I'm your friend. And I don't want to see you take your own life. I don't want to see your family suffer. How can I help you? I still judge you in the sense that I think what you did was wrong, but I can still be your friend.
Yes. Be honest with them. That's all people want in this world, is not to tiptoe around the truth and talk shit about people behind their backs and make these assumptions. Or just, how about this? Hey, I heard what happened. Is that true? What happened? Is it so hard to...
We can't do that from behind a camera.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. But it's like, how hard is it to reach out to somebody and say like, hey, like, I'm your buddy. Talk to me. What's going on? Like, what happened? You don't want to tell me? Okay, I'm here for you. Like, let me know what you need. Like, I'm here for you. That's it. Even if they messed up, even if they did something bad, or, I mean, depends what it is, right? It's like,
there's degrees to everything.
But if it's like something stupid, like, man, like, why did you do that? You know,
and have the confidence to go back to your organization and say, yes, they're my friend. And I was talking to them on Wednesday.
Yes, it's not a big deal. I checked in with them. Maybe you should send them a text too. You were just drinking with them 2 weeks ago too. And the only reason you didn't get in trouble is because you went home early. If you were still there, you probably would be, you know what I mean? It's like, what, like, why you think like, oh, because it didn't happen to me. It's like, I know the shit you're doing too. It's only a matter of time for you. Like, don't say, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. Like, it's just so funny. It's just such a what's in it for me kind of environment. And it's sad. Just be that one person. Be that one person. And there's this thing that goes around. Be that one person why people still believe that God exists. Why not? Like, what's it going to hurt you? What is it going to take? Nothing. Nothing. It's going to take nothing. A text message takes literally no effort. Like, checking in. How are you? Oh, cool. I wasted 10 seconds of my life. And it's not a waste. You look at it as like, oh, it's a burden. That person looks like it like, you just saved my life. You never know.
Based on the progression of the way the events have unfolded in your recent hearing, when do you anticipate a complete resolution? If you can put a ballpark.
I'm going to assume, so what the judge ordered was to go back to, remand me to a new Board of Rights for LAPD. So we have to still go back to court to get that finalized. And then probably another year, maybe another year before the new Board of Rights will happen.
Could they, once it gets reassigned, I'm not even going to ask that question because it's not important. You got into real estate. Did you get into real estate doing from this, or had you already been?
No, because so I was in the middle of like, what am I going to do now? And I met this friend of mine. She moved out of state. She was law enforcement. She got her real estate license over in Idaho, and she was like, "Hey, like, get your license." She's like, you know, you have freedom. There's like, you can make as little or as much money as you put in, right? I mean, it's not easy, but get your license. It's not going to hurt you. I'm like, okay, I'll do that, because I was struggling to find a job. Like, I mean, I'm 40-year-old. Like, what am I going to do now? I've done this for the last 12 years of my life. Like, that's not really an easily transferable skill to like normal jobs. And so I got my license and I just started doing that. And you don't know how hard it is really to be an agent, because nobody tells you. You just like, you think like, oh, I'll just go and get clients. And it's like, no, you won't. It's like, so it was like navigating that in the beginning. So actually the funny thing is like me and my husband, our house that we owned was my very first deal. And I'm like, why not experiment on myself? Let's see how good or bad I do. I don't know if I'm gonna be good at this. So our first house was my very first real estate deal. And then after that, I started getting phone calls from people that I used to work with, like, hey, I heard you're an agent now. I want to buy a house. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I started working with mostly police officers or some family members. Like that was pretty much all I worked with. I tried to do the whole like door knock and cold to call like they told me to do. And I can't do, I'm not a salesperson. Like I was like, I hate getting these calls. I'm not going to do it to people. So I stopped doing that. But I just kind of focused on just the people that, and I didn't even like to be on like, and I'm not trying to be cocky. I didn't really try. It was just that I have a great reputation, like with the people that still respect me and don't think that I'm garbage. But the people that know me and that are my friends, they're like, hey, I'm going to spread your name around. And so they would refer me to people. And that's kind of that's how I survived for the last 2 years. Like if I didn't have my real estate license, I'd be probably homeless and in a gutter somewhere. But yeah, it was like I felt very honored that people trusted me enough to sell their house. And then I started like building my own little thing with police officers where I called it But I Live Right There. It's like actually my LLC, But I Live Right There, because that was like a whole that was the whole thing with the cops, right? Like you have a perimeter and like I need to get in, but I live right there, right? So I was like, we had to make it like cop geared somehow. So I have this thing like when I work with police officers, I give 10% back of my commission when they purchase a house towards their closing costs. And then when I sell their house, I don't charge as much as everybody else does. I'm like, keep your money. Like you guys work so hard. And so, but I just do it for cops, no firefighters. Cops are military, like because everyone loves the firefighters. They get all the deals. You know what I mean? I joke, but I do that. That's what I kind of took a break from real estate because of the whole RIT thing. Like once I represented myself, I just put everything else on the side and I had to learn the process because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing and it's a big deal. So now that it's kind of like, okay, the RIT trial's over, I'm starting to get back into it again. So that's good. But I try to do a little bit of everything here and there. Like I pick up any security details that people are willing to give me, any like executive protection that they're willing to give me. Like I never say no to a job. Like I'll do whatever because I'm not a fucking quitter. Like I gotta do what I can to survive, you know? But so real estate's, it's great. It's good to have, like it's a side hustle too if you're on the job because it's like I've always had this struggle and this problem with cops just never being home and working like 30 days of overtime. It's like, why? What are you like? What kind of life is that for your family? Like, enjoy the moment now. Your kids are only going to be so young for this much time. Don't put it into that place. Like, do something else. If you can have like a real estate license and do one deal, I mean, you're looking at like $15,000 on the side. Like, that's a lot of money, right? You have an extra 15 grand a month if that's what you want to do, a deal a month, or even if you do like 3 deals a year, you know, that's an extra 45 grand. That's not a bad job. Like, it's not a bad overtime. So what I've learned from this is if being a cop is your only source of income, get something else because you never know. If you lose it, then you got nothing. I mean, be prepared. I'm not saying that everybody's going to end up fired or like, but it could happen. And there's nothing wrong with trying to have like a second source of income because if it does happen, like I pray to God that it doesn't. If it does happen, then you're prepared.
Waving the magic wand. We everything's all done. You're back on the job. Would you want to go back to patrol or go continue as a detective?
Patrol's where my heart's at.
Because you said you had just recently been promoted or took the test and got promoted to detective.
Yeah,
had you been given a detective assignment?
Yes, I was a theft detective. And I don't know if it was because it was the theft table and LA does not care about thefts. It's like basically I worked like a non-crime table, so nothing ever got done. I mean, I filed cases all the time and it was always a reject. Oh, no, we're not going to file that. It's not enough money. Or, oh, it was just so disheartening. I'm like, do all this work and get all these like search warrants done to get this suspect and you're not going to file.
Well, even if they file it, he or she's not going to do any time.
I know. It was just so frustrating. And it's probably because I worked that specific table that it was just like, kind of discouraging. I didn't like it as much. I love being in the field, but I mean, my goal, if God willing, if I got back on the job and I was privileged to have carried the badge gun and ID again, I would honestly love to go to, this is going to be really funny, officer rep section. I mean, I don't think I would go back to patrol anymore. And I'm like unsure if I should say this or not.
Then don't put yourself in any awkward position. I think you brought up a great point though.
Yeah.
You might have always known about officer rep section,
Mhm.
but it's different to come out of something and now realize how important it is to other members.
Yeah. I want to put it this way. Like my purpose has changed and it's no longer like part of me is like the side of like the whole tradition thing. Like, oh, I got to go back and do more time in the field. But I'm like, who cares? Like I did time in the field. Like I did, like I worked my ass off. Maybe it's not good enough to some people. Who cares? And it's like that whole like change of mentality, right? Where it's like, you sit here and think like, oh, they're going to be like, oh, this person with the 406 serial number, of course she's in this spot now. Like, cause like, so with LAPD, like if you have a 40, anything with the 4 and after, it's like, you don't have any time on. We have 3s on our number. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a thing. And it's like, what they don't realize is like 40s have 15 years on the job now. Like, yes, I know it sounds crazy, but like we have a little bit of time in. I know it's not a ton of time, but like, so my purpose has changed. And it's like, I always look at what has God given you? What gifts has he given you? What knowledge has he imparted on you that you can give to other people? And now I know a lot more than the average person that even probably works officer rep section now. And why not go and give that back to people to help them not do that? So that would be like my ultimate goal. And like I worry, the only reason why I was like hesitant kind of about saying it is because if people from LAPD listen to it, they're like, we're never going to let that happen. Do you know what I mean? And
completely.
But it's like, I don't know. Maybe those people don't have any say. I won't be there by the time I get back. I don't know. But it's like, that would be my goal, would be to go there. So, like I would figure out a way to be able to help other people not go through what I went through. That would be my new purpose on the job. Of course, like my heart's in patrol. I don't know. I don't know. That would be like magic wand. That's what would happen. If not, patrol is like my jam. I don't know. Just love being in the field.
For somebody who's never worked patrol before, there's just something about you're driving around, you see that car or that person, you're like, I need to talk to them.
Yeah. It's just like you get that feeling. You're like, okay, that guy's got the gun. And it's funny, like, off duty, you're driving and you're like, that's a dirty car. Oh man, that car's stolen for sure. That guy's got a gun. And it's like, and people are like, how do you know? It's like, you just know.
There's just certain, and people want to say it's racism. It is not racism.
No.
There's just, you get to know your area and you get to know what belongs, what doesn't belong.
Yeah.
I don't need to see the driver.
No.
There's going to be a car that's just going to be like,
yeah, the way they're driving. It's just all this senior P3, one of the best cops I've ever met in my life. He was he's retired now, but I got the privilege of working with him. And I would drive with him and he would just be like, stop the car and get out running. And I'm like, where are we going? So I'm running, but we're in foot pursuit and he tackles this guy and a gun falls out of his waistband. I'm like, how did you see that? Like I would never, I mean, granted, I was looking the other way. He's working on this side, but I'm like, I still wouldn't have seen what you saw. And he was like, so I'm going to give you an analogy. And this is where this is what helped me. And he asked me, if you turn all the lights in your house, it's blacked out. Can you get from your front door to your bedroom without looking? And I was like, yeah, easily. And he's like, well, that's what police work is. You look at all these people and you know what normal people look like, right? That one person's going to do something that's like, that's not right.
and it stands out like a sore thumb.
Because he was like, so say you're going that way, but then you trip over something. It wasn't there before, right? He's like, it's that same thing. It's like, well, that's not supposed to be there. Why is he doing that? Why is she doing that? Like what? He's like, that's what you start to change in your brain. You need to study the human behavior, like human body, observe people all day long, anywhere you go. This is what someone that normal, not hiding anything looks like. That person that's hiding it is going to stand out to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so good.
I talk to people, you don't have to be a cop. I guarantee you on your street, you know every car that belongs on the street.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that one time that there's a new car on the street,
Like,
the first year, Whose car is that? Where's that car belong?
Yes.
That's what police work is. You just
Yes.
recognize what's out of the...
Yes. It's not. And it's like, it's funny because people use the word profiling. Yes, it is profiling, but it's criminally profiling, right?
Mhm.
You're looking for inconsistencies in the matrix. Like, this is what happens normally. And now this shouldn't happen. It never happens. Why is this happening? We need to look further into that. That's what it is. It's like, there's this car here. Who is that car? And sometimes you're like, oh, it really doesn't belong here. Or, oh, it's a guest of the name or whatever. But yeah, it's the average person can see that too. It's just turning that into your profession. It's like, how do I make that work so I can get the bad guys and not just be a nosy neighbor, right? It's like, and that's where training and experience comes along. That's where you do it day in and day out. It's like over and over and over and over again. And that's why I loved patrol so much, because it was like, I get to go hunt. I get to go and like observe people and find the glitch. Like, where's the glitch in the matrix? So yeah.
I appreciate you sharing your story. I wish you the best going forward.
Thank you.
I would say that I would like to have you back when it's done, but I'm hoping that when it's done, you're back on the job and we don't have to talk about your transition for a while.
Yeah.
So thank you again for sharing your story.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.